Padres have a pretty big series coming up here starting tonight, guys, and we'll certainly talk about that. Matt Skraby's alongside here in the Odyssey Palace studios, and I have to now refer to him as the legendary Kyle Glaser. I think he slept here last night, and he hasn't left yet. He's still hanging out with us, providing a great insight and info. And Kyle, I appreciate it. It's very nice of you to help make all of us sound a little more smart and and try to kind of give us some guidance as we go through trade deadline day. We'll get to Kyle. We'll get to everything else. But our trade deadline coverage is presented by City Cruises Live. Experiences done different. Mr. Tony Gwynn Jr., what a weekend for the Padres. They not only take 3 games from the Giants.
No, I'm trying to tell you that he's running upstairs right now.
Oh. Well, I was all right.
I'm just making sure you didn't go to him.
Well, I was about to go to him. I really was.
Good.
I didn't know he was quite there yet. Okay, so he'll be here in a second. So I'll start with you, Kyle Glaser, then. I'll ask what I was going to ask him, but the Padres take 3 from the Giants, and maybe even better, they take Robbie Ray as well. So it was a good weekend. First of all, thanks again for being here and everything, but just your first impressions. I know you've been giving these impressions all day, but for maybe a new audience, the minor league prospects that were sent over here. I've read, different takes on this. Yeah. Padres probably didn't have to give this much. They gave too much. This is what you do. So where are we sitting here?
Yeah, first and foremost, this is a really good trade for the Padres. Bringing in Robbie Ray, yes, he's a rental, but this is a veteran left-handed starter. That left-handed dynamic is something the Padres have not had really since they acquired Martin Perez at the 2024 trade deadline.
Yeah.
Look, he's in the division. He pitches in a similar ballpark with similar effects. He's pitching at a high level. This is going to be a very, very easy transition for him. I expect him to come in and have an impact right away in San Diego. In terms of what the Padres gave up, Miguel Mendez, look.
He looked like he had some potential, for sure.
Kid's got a great arm.
Yeah.
Again, easy triple-digit velocity. Really good power slider, but he's had some injuries and some control issues. A lot of these guys end up in the bullpen. 2-pitch, big stuff, injuries and control issues. And look, Joniel Hernandez is a really talented young player. They signed him on the international market, but he's in the DSL. He's 5-6 years away. Again, if you really, really like him, and I kind of do, right? He can legitimately play shortstop. There's a chance to hit for power and average. He's 6'2", 175, got room to fill out. There are things to like there, but if he makes this trade hurt, it won't be for another 5 years. And I'll say this in terms of the amount the Padres gave up. It is a little more than we saw other rentals go for, like Freddie Peralta, like Kevin Gausman. But the Giants are covering half the salary.
Yeah,
and
that's a part of it.
That's
sure.
why. That's why.
Okay, so I saw a great tweet from our guy Sammy Levitt today, who's all over this stuff, and he'll have the pregame show later. But he said, I've been on social media the last couple of hours. It's amazing how many Joniel Hernandez experts are out there. Because it is funny to hear people talk about, he's going to do this, he's going to... Honestly, none of you'd ever even heard of this guy when you woke up this morning. So, look, where I stand. I think Skraby, right? Prospects, you got to give up something every now and again that comes back. To me, prospects are a little bit like buying a bunch of lottery tickets. A couple of them may hit, but in the meantime, the Padres are going to get Robbie Ray. And Tony has hustled his way up there at Arizona. So, Tony, you're happy, I'm sure, to welcome Robbie Ray, especially after watching the way he shut the Padres down last week.
He's the only one in the last 8 games that has had the success of shutting down the Padres. So, this is a move, whether it be Robbie Ray or whoever of that ilk. It was a needed move. And if you got to give up Joniel Hernandez and whoever else, you did that. And so Padres get one more starter at least for now. And it sounds like the news is getting better about Joe and Nick.
That might be the biggest news of the whole weekend while we talk about everything else going on.
Yeah, I think here's how I kind of, if indeed we get to the end of this hour and there's not another pitcher added, that's an indicator to me that they feel pretty good about where Joe and Nick are. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work out that way, but that's at least how they feel now. And so one less pitching chaos we got to worry about now with Robbie Ray in the fold.
Yeah, right. Robbie Ray will probably at least be able to go 6 innings, and
well, that's what he kind of does. Even when it's not going good, he's that guy.
Yeah, he's going to give you that. And look, I mean, the way I looked at it, too, guys, the Dodgers got their former Cy Young Award winner. The Padres matched them. They got their former Cy Young Award winner. And, of course, that's a bit laughable to a lot of people out there. We're certainly get into this Tarek Skubal to the Dodgers trade, which has certainly put baseball, or at least turned everything upside down for a while. I think, everybody's got a thought or two on it. And, I'll be honest with you, Tony. I don't think Skraby's thought on this is that far fetched for a change. And, maybe I should let the conspiracy theorist himself talk about this, and then we can kick it around a little later. But, Skraby, you texted as soon as the Dodgers got Skubal the other night to Tony and I. You said, collusion. And my first thought was, come on, there he goes again.
Yep.
But I'll be honest with you, the more look, I'm not going to blame them of collusion, but there's a lot of explaining to me that the rest of baseball needs to do for basically allowing the Dodgers to do this. And I mean allowing it. I don't blame the Dodgers. I blame baseball.
Exactly. I'm not going to make this a whole anti-Dodger thing, because it seemed like the price that the Dodgers paid was the rest of the league could have paid this price. So I think the rest.
Let's just say, according to the experts that I've read.
Yes.
I don't know.
And here's the conspiracy. I know that they're not actually all colluding together to trade Tarek Skubal to the Dodgers, but it is very, very strange to me that the rest of baseball let this happen, knowing that those 3 guys were traded for Tarek Skubal. It seems like other teams could have come up with a deal that would have been better for the Tigers. So I have no idea what happened.
So here's what it comes down to. And by the way, you are completely right. If you're going to be mad at anyone here, be mad at the Milwaukee Brewers.
Okay.
They could have blown that trade package out of the water, and they have done such a good job building up their organization to have the talent in the majors and minors, in which they could have given up 3 bets, I would say obsessively locked into the model. The model will say, giving up 3 top prospects for 2 months of a great pitcher, don't do it, it's not worth it. And they don't take into account all the other factors of, these 3 great prospects, we have nowhere for them to play next year, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. And we have a chance to actually win a World Series if we have Tarek Skubal and Jacob Mrazowski at the top of our rotation.
Yeah.
They did not take that into consideration because it's not how they operate, and because that they completely and utterly missed on a prime opportunity to go from NLCS fodder to a legitimate World Series champion, and that is an indictment of them in their process.
Tony, your thoughts on the Brewers passing on potentially blowing the Dodgers offer off the table? And maybe even somebody else. I don't know. The Rays, some other teams out there. You and I laugh at Skraby, but is it possible he's at least thinking in the right direction here?
First, forgive me. Is Kyle actually on the show right now, or was that?
No, he's
tape?
right here.
No,
he's right here.
Right
sorry, Tony. That's right. We should tell you.
Hey, listen. I thought I was going crazy because Skraby was talking, and then all of a sudden I was like, "Wait, that sounds like Kyle's voice. What is going on? Is he just playing a tape and I missed something?"
I did text both
how
of
are
today,
you, my
so.
friend?
Good to see you, Tony. I'm glad to be on.
I think Kyle is right, and from a whole bunch of different angles. I know I got buddies that work over for the Brew Crew, and I know how attached they are to these models. That's why they usually win every trade that they're involved in, because anytime you see them make a move, there's usually a move behind it that kind of ties in that particular move, because they're of the thought, as Kyle kind of mentioned, there's a certain model in terms of prospects, what they expect to get back for a guy and what they expect to give for a guy. And they hold to that tight, which is also why they are the organization they are. However, as Kyle just mentioned, sometimes holding on to these models can blow your window up. And this is a crazy, crazy window they have right now, and the opportunity was there. Although I don't know that I necessarily blame just the Brewers. I think there were a ton of teams out there that had the means to go out and get a Skubal, and I'm talking about all the teams that are, in playoff contention, all had the means to do it. They chose not to, and my antennas are up on why they chose not to.
Yeah.
I don't think it's I think it's just too much of a coincidence that we've kind of died down on the Dodger talk and then all of a sudden, listen, at the end of this year, there's a collective bargaining agreement to be had, and I don't know that they all got on the phone and was like, hey, let's let Scooble go here, but it does seem my antennas are up looking at this deal, how it went down, who they got for it. It's just, I don't know. It leaves me with a lot of questions.
Here's the reason that I brought up and what Tony just said and some of the things Matt said, Skraby. I want to just tie this together as to why, in at least my mind and Tony's, that you wonder about all this because, Kyle, I'm sure you're right. The Brewers are sticking to their model, fine. But the bottom line is Scooble to the Dodgers, period, to me, is either the greatest or the luckiest, however you want to look at it, thing that could ever happen for the owners heading into the offseason. And the reason I say this is because if and when the Dodgers now run away to a third straight title, and you're already hearing all the criticism of the Dodgers getting Scooble anyway, but this is so easy now for the owners to say, yes, it's broke. It's broken. We have to lock the players out. We have to get this fixed. That's why I think it's a little stinky.
To be clear, the owners were going to lock the players out long before this trade happened.
Yes.
The Dodgers winning the World Series last year, that ticked them off to the point where, oh gosh, we have to lock out the players. The Dodgers signed Kyle Tucker to the richest deal in terms of average annual value in baseball history. Oh, and add Edwin Diaz. Yeah, that's also going to make them lock the players out. So this doesn't change the fact that, they weren't going to lock them out. Now they are. But it's definitely given them more ammunition to do so. There's one thing I want to say here. I saw a comment from KG the Elephant, great initials, by the way, saying, why give up anything for a rental? Because the rentals are often who put you over the top. The Royals do not win the World Series in 2015 without Johnny Cueto and Ben Zobrist. The Dodgers do not win the World Series in 2024 without Jack Flaherty. You pay for the rental because the rental is who you need to win a World Series, which is the point of all this.
Well, it is the point of all of this, we think. But there are many teams that don't seem to attack it in that manner.
I'll say this. Kyle's right once again. This lockout was happening. Yeah. But in between time, there is something that has been going on for decades now, and that is the PR fight between the two, right? And the owners for a long time haven't been able to kind of dominate that conversation because there wasn't the outlets that there is now. That has changed, and you've seen that from the start of spring training till up until this point, where the players have been able to kind of get their message out in terms of what it looks like. Now, obviously, we've in recent weeks we've seen MLB counter that with using the network and some of the ads that they put up. But I don't think for 1 second that they don't mind the PR, at least needle, moving to their side as this deal kind of went through, as they knew it would. And so Dodgers, I think Skraby's right. This isn't really about Dodgers doing what Dodgers do, right? They're going to go out. They're going to try to get the best players available. And as Kyle and Chris said, you go out and get these rentals when you feel like it's going to push you over the top. And so you can't be mad at them. In this case in particular, because of what the haul was that they had to give up, you got to look at all these other teams and kind of look at them sideways too. Like, yo, what are y'all doing though? Like, this wasn't a 1, 2, and 3 prospect or a 1, 3, and 9 prospect.
No.
These are all outside the top 5.
Yeah, they didn't give up any of their top 4 or 5 outfielders.
They didn't even give up a major league player.
All right.
That's not all that new.
It's insane to me, though. Like, this was billed as the biggest trade potentially in the history of Major League Baseball. And then you get 2 guys that aren't anything, and you get a guy who is something. But my question, maybe we answer on the other side for Kyle, is did teams, you think, get scared away after Tarek Skubal had to miss time with his elbow, loose bodies, and then he came back? We can answer that on the other side, but I was wondering if maybe that was something. So, Chris.
Well, we'll take a look at all of it. We got plenty of time. Kyle's here for a little while until he just drops down of exhaustion here. But Tony's in Arizona. The Padres did win 3 big ball games. You want to ask me why I'm not trading Adrian Morejon? Yesterday would be my answer. Jay Cronenworth comes up with a huge hit to win a ball game. And again, the Padres play Arizona tonight. They're 1 game behind the Diamondbacks and the Phillies for that last wild card. It has become exciting again. Robbie Ray is coming to the Padres. And we have 44 minutes for them to add to it. Stick around. Our trade deadline coverage, Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan.
Tune in.
2:21 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Kyle Glaser joining us here, MLB writer. And, of course, Matt Skraby. He's not on screen, but he is in the building. Good spirited conversation about the deadline. Kyle, let me ask you this, because obviously the topic of conversation is Tariq Skubal. Do you think the injury he had earlier this year may have brought the price down, at least to the type of prospects that we saw exchanged for him?
No, and the reason I say that is because it has been very interesting to me watching the moves made at this deadline. It has never been cheaper to acquire impactful big leaguers in terms of the prospects being traded. There have been a lot of trades where my reaction has been, wait, really? That's it?
Wow.
Beyond just the Tariq Skubal deal. And we've seen this trend in recent years where, again, more and more guys who are just like, I mean, sure, he's an interesting arm, somehow lands you a guy who's going to be in your starting lineup every day. I think we are seeing this across baseball, and again, the former Baseball America writer saying this, we are at a point where prospects are being overvalued, and it's never been cheaper to acquire impact talent.
I think, and I got to give credit to my man Darren Smith, I think the biggest heist ever in Major League Baseball is convincing people that prospects had more value than the actual big leaguers. It is. And by the way, this trend didn't just start. This has been going on for quite some time, that prospects have ruled the world. Basically, if you got them, you could do anything you want in this game.
Like anything else, it just comes down to accurate evaluation. Look, every player in Major League Baseball, by definition, was a prospect at some point. Aaron Judge was a prospect. Mike Trout was a prospect. Ronald Acuna Jr. was a prospect. And you don't want to be the GM who trades that guy and you look dumb. But those guys are also the outliers. They are few and far between. And it just comes down, once again, same thing in Major League Baseball. Accurate evaluations and accurate making sure that you are right with what you think a guy is. Because if you're wrong, it's going to cost you in trades, financially, etc.
And let me tell you how that also tells you that these cats have no faith in the picks they've made before, because they are shipping these guys off by the dozens, it seems like. So they're the only one who seems to, I don't know. I'm gonna stop there before I go too far. I don't know. I just saw this come across my phone. Looks like Red Sox Giants closing in on a deal. Eric Miller going from San Francisco to the Red Sox. I believe it's Marcelo, the San Diego coming
guy.
back. Well, at least to California. He ain't coming back here, but he's coming back to California. That's a nice trade for. I tell you what, Red Sox got the Yankee fans feeling away right now. Everywhere I look, Yankee fans are not happy that their team is. I saw one quote on Twitter, and Twitter's a great place to go around the deadline. You can get some doozy some statements. I saw, I think it might have been Gary Sheffield Jr. say that the Yankees are operating like they are bargain shopping somewhere in the midsection there. And it is funny to me because the Yankees, for the most part this year, have been just kind of cruising. Boston's been the one kind of immersed in headlines and different things, and now they're taking the trade deadline by storm, it seems like.
Red Sox just swept the Dodgers, first of all, so big weekend. They also really got the biggest name, the second biggest name coming out of the American League, Adley Rutschman, right? Traded.
Yeah.
They get him from Baltimore. You mentioned Eric Miller is a big lefty who's starting to knock down some saves. He'll set things up in Boston. Yankees are trying to keep up. Apparently, they're close to acquiring Giants outfielder Helio Ramos, the left fielder, closing in or done or almost done. Kyle Ramos.
They're reportedly finalizing the deal.
Yeah, and of course Ramos is my one of my favorite players because he hit me a foul ball in the press box. The Yankees also got a pretty good hitter from the Washington Nationals, Luis Garcia. I don't know where and when he became the National League's leader in slugging percentage, leading the entire league. This is a guy who had 5 home runs at the end of May.
So Luis Garcia is a great example of he's a talented young player who is blossoming at age 26. People forget how young he is because he's been around for so long.
Okay.
We see this all the time. Guys who are 25 and under big leaguers, and they perform okay or maybe not as you hoped, and people start getting down on them. Players hit their primes still, even today, 26-30. This is another case of a guy who took his early licks, grew from it, and now is reaching the point in his career where he's able to get the most from his ability. This is real what he is doing.
No,
he's always been talented, and now it's coming to fruition.
He's hit 17 or 18 home runs since June 1st. Like, I don't know where that came from, but the Yankees will get him in a short porch in right field.
Ooh, yeah.
That could be a nice actual pickup. I know the Yankee fans are whining, but that's a name they probably are not aware of. A couple of other ones.
Where's he? Real quick, is he going to play first base there?
I believe so, because that's all he can play.
I was about to
Apparently.
say, he might have moved himself out the infield spot in terms of second or any of those other spots.
I'm seeing Rice just more DHing now, Ben Rice. But, yeah, I think the Yankees. And, the other interesting trade today was a rise to the Phillies, because that's
a good one for them, too.
Well, that's a great one. I mean, of course, Rise cost us all last season here in San Diego. We know that. And anybody that defended him is an idiot. Speaking from experience there.
I put my hand up, apparently. Yeah,
I guess so. But
all we wanted was for him to be moved down in the lineup. That's all we wanted.
Yeah, well, and that wasn't going to do it either, because he hits where he should hit, and he's going to win another batting title. But the Phillies are going to have to move Bryson Stott to third base, and it looks like Bryce Harper, either that or Arise to first, Bryce Harper to the outfield. Arise doesn't want to go back to first base. Anyway, this could be one of I think it's something to keep an eye on, because I remember when the Padres got Adam Frazier, and he was a batting champ, but we didn't really have room for him, and it caused a lot of commotion. Sometimes that can work backwards.
I don't think this one's going to cause the same thing.
Yeah.
It sounds like Arise is going to play second. Remember, Bryce was in media saying, "Hey, we need some help."
Yeah.
And he's been willing, it sounds like, from the beginning of the season to go back to the outfield. I remember him talking about it. So he's going to move to the outfield. I think Stott's going to move to third. I think Bowman's going to move to first.
Wow.
And you got Luis Arise there at second base.
How's that sound, Kyle?
It sounds like a situation where, yes, there's going to be some adjustments, but the Phillies are a better team defensively if Alec Boehm's at first base instead of third base.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Luis Arise, let's give him credit. He put in the work with Ron Washington to actually become an above-average defensive second baseman this year, which is something
Here, Arise, because all we heard about was how horrible he was, Tony.
He has never been that good in his career. He's always been an elite hitter. Last year's offensive production, that was an aberration.
Right.
The defense, not so much, but give him credit. He put in the work. I noticed that during the World Baseball Classic, he came back this year a little slimmer, a little more explosive. We saw a little more from him, and we're seeing it play out here on defense.
I actually talked to both Luis and Ron during this last homestand, and I went over there to say the same thing to Ron. I said, "Hey, man, you done a terrific job," and he stopped me in my tracks. I couldn't even get the whole sentence out before he was like, "No. Let me tell you what happened. All of the other people that had him before, they didn't want to risk their own reputation in teaching him and helping him. Luis always could play defense. He just needed someone to show him some love." And so, as I was getting ready to credit him, he immediately stopped me. And I go back to last year talking to Luis. He's always wanted to play second base, but he was always not really afforded the opportunity. And so it's kind of a tale of both ways, right? Like, he has been given the opportunity. As Kyle kind of mentioned, he definitely came in some of the best shape of his career, and he's going to reap the benefit from it. Going to a Phillies team where I think outside of maybe this ball club, it probably fits him perfectly. They need a guy at the top of the lineup to set the table. And guess what? Those type of at-bats he puts together, as they did for the Padres in 24, they set a tone. And in a lineup like that, that's a super dangerous thing for an opposing pitcher.
The fans, 97.3 The Fans trade deadline coverage presented by City Cruises Live. Experience done differently. A couple of other late trades came in. Brewers did get a pitcher, not Tariq Skubal, but they got Dustin May. They got a reliever, Jojo Romero from the Cardinals. Kind of an interesting in-division move, but hey, whatever.
There's been lots of that in-division stuff.
Little strange.
Like Adley Rutschman.
That's been one of the more interesting things that we've seen from this trade deadline, the number of intra-division trades. We typically see very few of them.
Yeah.
We've seen, Robbie Ray to the Padres.
The Padres did that too.
Yeah, no, that's something I've noticed as well. And again, I think some of it goes back to teams being a little less about the old things they used to consider, well, it's in division, and now just sticking to, hey, model says it's a good trade, we're going to do it.
Well, and the division, although you need to win your division, is still not as crucial anymore because there's all those wild card
so
spots.
many spots, yeah.
It's not like if you don't win your division, you can't get to the playoffs as it used to be.
The Brewers have also apparently acquired Antonio Senzatella, according to Bob Nightingale. I'm going to take a shot and say I don't believe it. Sorry.
So it's only according to Bob Nightingale.
No, there are others. I mean, Rosenthal's also reporting
I've heard that as well, but we'll see if Senzatella moves. We'll talk about some of the other acquisitions throughout the day. There's, at least 45 players that have moved here, so I want to get everybody caught up if you're just tuning in. So, Tony, let me do that when we return, and you send us off.
All right, more from Gwynn and Chris and Kyle when we return. More Gwynn and Chris.
Gwynn and Chris on the Fan.
It's right here. It's hard to, ignore it.
That was
and
an
I don't think
exciting
anybody
play
wants.
all the way around.
All right. Is Robbie Ray just what the Padres needed? People who follow
I see
music
what
will
you're
get that
doing.
connection. Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris Crisello, Tony Gwynn Jr. in Arizona, and Matt Skraby here in the Bill House Studios, where we know how Kyle Glaser, great baseball guy, sitting in with us all day and providing us updates and much information. Yes, Robbie Ray is the big story of the day here. The former Cy Young Award-winning left-hander coming to the Padres in exchange for prospects Miguel Mendez and another young player who, what's his name again?
John
Cy Young.
Hernandez.
Guy, yeah.
Cy Young.
Yeah, no kidding. Well,
Cy Young.
either that or another Leo Dallas DeVries. I mean, people are putting this kid in the next stratosphere, but Robbie Ray having a hell of not just a great year, 10-6, 3.08 ERA. But, guys, he's been practically unhittable since June 1st. Yeah. He's given up only 3 runs total in his last 4 starts. And starting in June, he's, I believe, 7-0. So Robbie Ray has been pitching. He beat the Padres last week. And it's on the surface exactly what the Padres needed. There's 20 minutes left until the official trade deadline. But understand that a lot of times trades are announced after that. Yeah. That we don't quite, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. You could have a name come up at 3:15 like Max Scherzer, and then we have to take it back at 3:30. Like we did a few years ago. You're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe this year?
No, I tweeted out that I'm not going to believe anything unless the Padres tweet it because that was hard, Chris. We celebrated that Max Scherzer was a Padre for like an hour.
We must have called him Padre Max Scherzer at least 30 times.
And then Ken Rosenthal said, oh, wait, guys. I made a mistake.
Sorry.
He actually got traded to the Dodgers instead.
Yeah. Let's not only take him away from you, but let's put him on the Dodgers. Tony Gwynn Jr. in Arizona. Real quick, on the weekend, Tony. I'm sorry. I do have to get a couple of quick trades. Foster Griffin, who's a pretty good lefty, has had a great year, young lefty for Washington. He moves across to the Cleveland Guardians today, just now. That's a nice, based on how he's pitched. He's had a bunch of quality starts, 7 innings, 2 runs almost all year long. I guess the Nationals are giving up. They've lost 5 in a row, and, that might be one team we can say goodbye to in the wild card race.
No question. At this point a week ago, they were only 1 game back. They've fallen out of it. And this is a team that was always going to be prioritizing for 2027, 2028 to begin with.
As they should.
With them falling back, it kind of removed the impetus to keep or maybe even buy a little bit. I will say, I like what Cleveland is doing this trade deadline. Foster Griffin came back over from Asia, completely reinvented himself. He's been one of the better left-handed starters in baseball. I also like the acquisition of Joe Adell. There are so many players on the Angels who have talent. But because that organization is the worst organization in baseball, completely and utterly inept.
They blow the Rockies out of the water?
Blow them out of the water.
Really?
Blow them out of the water. Facilities, there's so much there.
Interesting.
I think that this is a really good opportunity for the Guardians to get a player who's really talented, help him unlock his natural ability, and get a superstar. I really do. I think the
Joe
Guardians...
Adell has that kind of skill.
He has that kind of skill. He has that kind of aptitude. He has that kind of makeup.
I love that. I love Joe Adell. First of all, I'm a big fan of his because he's had to do it like almost all by his lonesome.
Yep.
And this is really a prototypical Angel draft pick. Super duper athlete, but not a lot of instinct, not a lot of baseball skill. And watching him grow from, where he was his first year in the big leagues to now, man. If he does, and I don't know if Cleveland is the answer, because they haven't really, outside of Ramirez, offensive players haven't really, blossomed there. But if there's someone there that can help that young man out, they're getting a heck of an athlete and a player if they can continue to build on it. Go ahead, Kyle.
Okay. Look what happened to Brandon Marsh when he left Anaheim and went to Philly. Same thing's going to happen with Joe Adell.
I can see that.
Real quick,
is Joe Adell going to let his hair down like Brandon Marsh does?
I hope not.
No, that's not his style.
I know he can't do that with his hair. Just
so
he absolutely can't do that. Just to finish up real quick on the Nationals, guys, because I don't disagree with you, Kyle, but right now they are in the 8th spot in the wild card, 4.5 back. That is the spot the Padres were in 2.5 weeks ago. So it does change. You never know. Now look where the Padres are, a game back and sitting right there. Tony, yeah.
I do think the difference is that the Nationals that whole time have been waiting for the opportunity to do this. The Padres have been praying that they didn't have to do that come to this point in the season. And that's kind of speaks to where these two organizations are at this particular time.
Yeah, well, the Padres have done what they needed to do, and since the All-Star break, 10-6, and obviously 8-1 in the last 9 games to make A.J. Preller buy today, and he got Robbie Ray. Hopefully he can do more. I've seen a few
I think
names.
He got something else cooking.
I've heard a few names fluttering around, including Jackson Holiday. I heard his name floated around. This is all just rumors, of course, but you never. The funny thing is, Tony, did anyone ever say Robbie Ray to the Padres within the last 3 weeks? I never heard it.
As soon as he pitched against us, I started.
Oh, you started to hear it after that? Okay. But, I mean, I'm just saying people kind of make all these guesses, and it ends up being.
Oh, yeah, they're all guesses.
Right, it ends up being something else. How about the weekend, Tony? I mean, you got all this trade deadline stuff hanging over your head. You got to win 3 games, and they were tough games, but you won them all.
I think the Padres, in that really in the last, couple of weeks have shown AJ everything he needed to see to kind of push the button to go forward. And the offense starting to tick up. Listen, I don't know that it's sustainable beyond, last 2 weeks, but the pitching chaos thing has worked to perfection. I don't know that you could have drawn it up any better. Even on a short day from Buehler, they still were able to piece that all together to get through the week. You get Robbie Ray, so that's a little bit of a relief for the bullpen. You're starting to get healthy in that realm. The news as we said at the beginning of the show with Joe and Nick seems to be trending into the right direction. I don't know that you can fully sell out yet, but it's moving in the right direction. And I think this week was the exact kind of week they needed in order to get to this point today.
Go ahead, Kyle.
I was going to say, I think we all need to take a step back and give this coaching staff, which has taken a lot of heat, and this offense, which has taken a lot of heat, a tremendous
We've tried
amount
to give them some credit on this show, Kyle, but then we just get obliterated by the listeners for doing it.
But, look, the Padres came out of the break and lost 5 of 7. They had no margin for error. They were 50-53. Nothing was going their way. Backs against the wall, and they win 8 of 9. Yes, it's against the Marlins, who were spiraling, and the Giants and the Rockies. But like I said on Braden's show, this isn't college basketball. There's no quad 1 wins here. Every win counts the same, and we see all the time.
I love that. No quad 1 wins.
Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, we see all the time teams miss out on playoff spots because they don't take care of business against the teams they're supposed to. For the Padres to do what they've done, pitching chaos, I mean, everyone, the coaching staff, the players themselves, tons of credit. But here's the other thing Tony said, and I think it's important to note just how much this offense has changed. They were 30th in the majors in batting average
30th.
through July 2nd. Since July 2nd, 1 month, exactly 1 month, they lead the majors in batting average.
Yeah.
They're top 3 in runs scored. They're top 5 in OPS. They're number 2 in on-base percentage. We have literally seen a worst to first situation. And this offense deserves all the credit in the world. And it's not one guy. It's not just Manny and Merrill. It's everyone. It's Cronenworth.
And that also goes to the whole coaching, the staff that handles the hitting.
Yeah, you got to give the pitching coach Steven Souza, who we fired in April, a little credit for this. Hitting coach, yeah.
Yeah, that whole crew. I mean, and listen, I think Stam is included in that, especially the chaos part, because you get to the season, you got a bunch of starters in that bullpen that, aren't pitching starter innings. Now, granted, they haven't earned the right to pitch starter innings, but from a personal standpoint, this ain't helping their careers pitching 2-3 innings at a time as a starter, but they've all bought in. And if you don't have the right communication from a manager in these particular moments, it can go sideways very, very fast when you got big leaguers who have time and have, a lot of experience pitching in different roles, as we've seen pretty much everybody. Not a man, at least that we know of, has had bad body language. Push back. Other than Walker is going to be Walker when he comes out of the game. Like he just doesn't like coming out of the games. But outside of that, it's been great, and I think the staff deserves a ton of credit for that.
Update from John Heyman. Padres trying to land Nootbaar, Burleson, or Larnach to fill the lefty need. But I'm seeing on the chat.
Wait.
Burleson is in
you went that
group
really
too?
quick.
Oh.
Wait,
Lars
hold on,
Nootbaar.
but I'm going to take one of those guys away. According to the chat, D-backs got Nootbaar.
Yeah, Jorge
Lars-
Castillo is reporting it for ESPN as well.
So
Lars
the
Nootbaar.
Diamondbacks got Nootbaar.
To Arizona.
Yes,
well, he
Diamondbacks
is.
got Nootbaar.
He's
Well,
not done
again,
much for the Cardinals since coming back from the injury.
If but
year.
I hope the Burleson one is good because I like him even more if that is the case because Burleson
Who wouldn't
is
want Burleson? That guy
is
can
a
slug
bona
little
fide
bit.
hitter.
Yeah, he can. We'll see. We'll keep it up to date here as we continue on our trade deadline coverage. Presented by City Cruises Live. Experiences done different. Padres, Diamondbacks. Michael King will make the start tonight for the Padres, so we may have a night away from pitching chaos. But I want to talk about that pitching chaos a little too, Tony, because we talked about it last week. The fact that they even tried this, Kyle, and just kept looking for something that might work. They could have just kept throwing out the five-man rotation out there and just hoped. But they did something different. Yeah, maybe they got lucky, maybe whatever. But the fact is they kept trying. And I think you got to give them credit for trying and doing that. And now they've kind of just hit something here.
The creativity involved has been absolutely spectacular. Look, it is not easy to try and piece together a game like this 3 out of every 5 days. And let's not forget, Walker Buehler is averaging less than 5 innings per start. Realistically, 4 out of every 5 days, you've got to put together a pitching plan that is way, way, way more complicated than 99% of teams out there. And they've done it effectively. And that's where, yes, there have been points this season where you could criticize Craig Stammen and the staff for how they've handled some things pitching-wise. But what they have done over this stretch, I mean, I cannot put into it's important to emphasize how difficult this is to manage this, to maneuver it. They've done a great job. Tony made all the great points with it as well.
This is where I think groupthink is a benefit. This idea doesn't typically come from one man. And you heard Craig talk about it in his kind of scrum the other day. Initially, they had kind of planned this ahead for like 4 or 5 days. But what they realized was you can't really do that because after the game is over, it could be completely different. So they kind of rewired it a little bit so that now they were doing it kind of on a day-to-day basis. Those are the kind of adjustments that can prove detrimental if they're not made in time, right? They were right on it. They realized, okay, we can't do that. We can't plan 3-4 days out because we may very well need to use one of these guys. It may not go to plan. And so they make the adjustment, and it's worked perfectly. Now, I think you're going to eventually need at length. You just there's too many ball. Jesse and I talked about this yesterday during the ball game. There's too many games that this isn't what the Tigers did last year where they had less than a month to kind of figure it out and put it together. This is 2 full months of baseball in which you need to have wins. I don't think it's sustainable to get through the rest of the year.
And we see this, that teams that try this, they typically run out of gas at about the 2 to 3 week mark. And that's why for the Padres, you have to go out and get at least one more starting pitcher here before the deadline, which is now in 8 minutes. I love the Robbie Ray edition. You feel good about Michael King. And look, Nick Pivetta and Joe Musgrove are beginning their rehabs, and that's great. You also have to keep in mind Joe Musgrove is coming off of essentially a 2-year-long rehab from Tommy John. Nick Pivetta is coming off a flexor strain. These are not nothing injuries. The Padres need to have some insurance. Obviously, the hope is these guys come back and pitch the levels they're capable of. But you need to have that insurance.
What starting pitcher is left here with 7 minutes to go, Kyle, that you would take a look at if they're looking?
Casey Mize. I mean, again, rental. We see rentals do not cost a lot. He's still a Detroit Tiger.
Okay.
He's big. He's physical. He can take you deep into games. There's Reed Detmers as well, but multiple years of control. That's going to be very expensive.
It's going to cost way much.
I really like the idea of Casey Mize in a Padres uniform.
All right. Well, I'm gonna count on it then. Sorry, Kyle. In fact, I'm gonna write it down. What you're saying about the bulk, the chaos, the quilt, as I like to call it, because I give Kevin Acee some love on it. But you look at J.P. Sears. He went twice in this series against the Giants. Right? Yep. He pitched Thursday and Sunday in the quilt format or the chaos format. So, you're right. It's going to be hard to sustain it, but I like what Tony said also. I'm keeping it in my mind here. They may think that they're going to get either Pivetta or Musgrove, or at least some semblance of either here in the last 6-7 weeks. That's the case. Maybe they don't need another arm beyond Robbie Ray. It's not going to hurt, though, to get a little more insurance.
You can never have too much starting pitching.
Yes,
you can never have too much starting pitching.
We're gonna retract those words. We're not even pretend like you put them in the air.
I do think, again, it would be fantastic if the Padres can go into, again, they still need to get into playoff positions. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But theoretically, you open a playoff series, you can go King, Ray, Pivetta, all healthy, maybe Musgrove is your 4. That's all great if they're all at peak form.
Right.
But again, we have to see what Pivetta and Musgrove actually look like. They're going to have to ramp up. Are they going to be peak form down the stretch? There's so many questions that, to me, you have to add at least one more starting pitcher just to buy yourself some insurance.
Well, I have a feeling, and just correct me if I'm wrong, either of you think differently. After trading for Robbie Ray, I don't think A.J. Preller went and sat by the beach. So I'm sure he's still, searching and seeing what else he can come up with. I will point this out because I saw it pointed out, and does it mean anything? Probably not. But Robbie Ray, in his career, not great in the postseason, at least not yet. He's 0-3 with a 7.43 ERA. That is a small sample size of 13 innings and a couple of starts, one for Arizona and one for Seattle. So, throw that in there if I put a little fly in everybody's ointment. So be it. I'm pretty happy to have him, and I think most Padre fans are. Tarek Skubal is throwing right now in the outfield at Wrigley Field. I guess that they're going to have the baseball MLB Network will have the Tarek Skubal camera going here for the next 24 hours. He is supposed to make his Dodger debut tomorrow. So tomorrow, I guess all of Major League Baseball will be a Cub fan for at least one day.
Can I read his quote real quick that made me an immediate hater? Immediate hater.
I don't think there's anything
of Tarek Skubal.
Unless his quote was.
Hold up, you better make sure he actually said. There's a lot of fake
quotes. This is from Jesse Rogers.
Okay, it's real then.
Let me just before this, if he would have said, the only thing he could have said was like, I was listening to the radio show in San Diego when I was down that way, and that Matt Skraby guy is hilarious.
Yeah, he did. I heard that,
I think you would have hated him even if he said that.
Yeah, maybe with this quote right here. Yeah, maybe. Quote, every team could trade for me. I don't sympathize with people that blame the Dodgers for anything they've done. It's a winning org. I really don't sympathize with people that are complaining because the Dodgers do all the right things.
In his case, though, he's not lying.
He's not lying, but we don't need to hear it.
You may not like the words he said, but he's in this particular case, he's not lying.
But is it fair? Is it fair to say, because Kyle, you said so, and everything, that he told the Tigers he wanted to go to the Dodgers?
I never said that.
Oh, you didn't say that.
No,
I've read that online.
No.
Okay.
It was me. I told you that.
No.
Kyle's like, no, I never said that.
No, not me.
No, I said it. I said that the rumor is that he told the Tigers he wanted to go to the Dodgers, and he did go to the Dodgers.
That's a rumor.
So
we don't know that that's actually true.
Right. And even if it is true, and I'm very skeptical of unsourced rumors, teams get requests from players all the time. It
doesn't mean they have to comply.
Doesn't mean they acquiesce. At the end of the day, the Tigers were going, in theory, they were going to make the move that brought them back the most talent. I would argue they should have waited another 48 hours.
Yes,
they could have
why would they
more.
in such a hurry?
Basically,
I'm sure the Dodgers were pushing the buttons to get it done as well. They want his arm in the rotation. It's a two-way street on that, right? Because the two teams can get together on players, but now there's like, okay, well, we need him. We kind of need him here tomorrow. Like, can we? And so now you can have that leverage in terms of, well, if we're not going to do it today, then we might not just do this at all, right?
I got an idea. If you really want him here tomorrow, then how about you give me one of your 10 top prospects instead of
one of your
38th best player?
That certainly could be a part of the negotiation.
And this is where leverage and negotiations comes into play, right? We talk all the time. There's so many situations where a team says, here's the offer, but if it's going to be off the table if we don't get an answer in the next couple hours. That does happen a lot. And if you're the Tigers, again, you know you have to get rid of Tarek Skubal. You want to maximize the talent. If they loved this package, and I want to be clear, actually, these are good players. Now, they're not worth Tarek Skubal. The Dodgers made out like bandits here, but these are good players. And I do think from the Tigers' perspective, they clearly said, this is the package that we want, and we're going to say yes. Should they have done it? I would disagree with it, but clearly they felt like this was good enough.
Yeah, well, they got the Dodgers had better outfielders, according to everybody. The Dodgers had better. River Ryan has already kind of given a look here and there. Injuries have kept him back. He's 27 years old. The third guy, Brady Smith, is 0-10 in the minor leagues. I don't know how that was appealing to the Tigers, but what the hell?
One of them, didn't we had River in our organization for a hot second.
Yeah, River Ryan, interesting. He's a late conversion guy pitching. He was a middle infielder. The Padres drafted him, made him a pitcher, and he was so good in instructional league that the Dodgers said, we want him. The Padres traded him for Matt Beatty.
I remember old Matt Beatty.
Yeah, remember Matt Beatty was the Padres?
He was a rec spec guy.
Yeah. By the way, I'll say this about Brady Smith in the 0-10.
Yes, I know that's over. Yeah,
no, an A-ball. God, those defenses are so bad.
They are atrocious.
And most pitchers are getting pulled after like 3 innings there. Low A baseball right now is barely baseball, so I always caution. I always say don't scout the stat line anyway, but especially at the lower levels of minor leagues right now. And this goes for anyone and everyone. Really don't scout the stat line.
I know, but you got to understand one thing, Kyle Glaser. You never let the stat line get in the way of making a good point, which is that the Dodgers, fleeced the Tigers.
They did.
All right, so the deadline has passed.
It's over.
But we're going to be here until 3:03 to see if anything comes in. I don't want to be in break if something comes in.
You think those 3 minutes are going to help you get these deals in?
It might. There's been a flurry in the last 2 minutes.
I know the Pods are in search of a lefty bat, big time, and I won't be surprised to see a Cardinal name roll through. I would love to see a Cardinal name roll through.
You're talking Alec Burleson.
Whoever that may be. They got a couple options over there. But, yeah, I would love to see Burleson in this lineup. That would be nice.
That would be. Lars Nootbaar did go to Arizona, so that's one lefty the Cardinals traded to the Diamondbacks, which is in the division, of course. I
was prepared to be all over the Diamondbacks. We're not doing anything.
John,
that's the only one they've acquired, right?
John Heyman, Casey Mize to the Padres. There you go.
Casey Mize.
There you go.
Casey Mize to the Pods.
This is why we're on until 3:03, Chris.
And this is why Kyle Glaser's here. I'm going to go home. That was incredible.
I'm tired of facing Casey Mize and MLB The Show, so it's good. Get him all over the Padres.
Can I just say that the man sat here and called his shot 7 minutes ago?
Yep.
Nobody ever calls their shot on this show. So I'm really excited that's so it's pretty true if John Heyman's saying we'll get the finalized details.
That's a good one.
And again,
I wonder what we gave up for. He's rental, so we probably didn't have to give up a ton.
Especially given what we are seeing the market prices are for rentals. Then again, AJ Preller tends to like to give up a lot of good players, so we'll see.
Casey Mize, just so you get a little familiar with him going into break. This year he's 4-6, but he's got a 2.70 ERA. He also has a WHIP under 1. That's pretty good. 0.99 is his WHIP.
We don't know the return yet, people.
I'm just giving them some information to take with them into the break.
You're good.
Casey is 27-31 career 3.95, but I'd say he's having a pretty good year. His last time out against the Royals, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, and no decision. And we'll be back with more. AJ Preller press conference is at 4:00, so it's all still ahead. And what is before they try, what is the heat index they're facing? Do we know? Or?
Well, you could look up the Scoville on a ghost pepper.
Yeah.
It's one of the world's hottest. There's a couple of hotters.
Scoville's the measurement unit.
The X pepper and all of that.
Thanks for the education, because I did not know.
I've allowed milk and bread, but if I was asked,
tell us the actual rules of this.
The rule is,
see if you can do it. I guess
you guys alternate spoonfuls until one of you can't.
One of you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
Until you can't do it anymore.
I will take
and
one.
The winner, Skraby, has a jar of a couple of my jars.
I think they both are winners if they pass this.
I hate to say. Yeah, of course.
There will be no back and forth. There will be one spoonful.
Now, this is the one that he has right now.
The 38?
Maybe.
Okay. All right.
Now, this right here, I've been putting on some of my turkey burgers.
Good stuff.
This is hot.
Okay.
Right, are we doing
All
it?
right,
Here we go.
All right, let's
Adam's
do it.
ready.
This is a
There,
full
away he goes.
spoonful
God, he
of
does
the-
have a full spoonful
He
for
does.
those
There's-
listening.
there's
on
no
that.
doubt. I'm literally sweating watching him
That's
do
a
this
full
right now.
spoon?
That's a full spoon. For
All right.
sure.
That is a full
Down the
spoon.
hatch we go.
All
All right.
right.
And man, he went the whole thing. He did not.
My
He did
turn?
not trickle that down the throat. He
He
just.
hasn't reached for the milk yet.
Scraby's coming over.
When does the heat kick in?
Oh,
I knew it.
When does the heat kick in?
Wow.
You better go, dude.
There goes Skraby.
They
Scraby,
both
are
did
you,
it.
did you swallow that, Scraby? Yeah.
That is some good stuff.
It's delicious.
delicious.
We're gonna see
Tasty.
it. I'm gonna watch you now.
I'm feeling it already. I am, are you?
No.
He's
Adam's
feeling good.
feeling nothing. All right, so take another spoonful, Adam. You'll win.
Oh, come on. Now we're double dipping.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
all
you
one
can't put your
spoonful.
same
That's
spoon
not
in
what
there.
the competition's all about.
We always said
Spoonful
that.
two.
Yeah, go for
Oh
it.
yeah.
I always said that Adam Klug was kind of had a.
I at least used a different spoon. No double dipping.
All right.
I didn't know we were. I don't. Think
I always
it
thought
matters.
Adam Klug had a cold persona, but evidently it's just the opposite.
All right.
Big
He
boss
is
Michael
handling
Valenzuela
this.
in the
Wait,
YouTube
no,
chat,
dog.
by the way.
Which way though? You let laughing it drip in your hand. Oh, okay.
Scraby, where are you? Let me see.
Okay.
I'm just looking at Adam, and Adam's not having any problem at all.
Look at you, Adam.
Adam is backed
All right.
up.
I'll let you
But
boy.
this
I must tell you, Tony,
hold on.
that Adam has cashed the check.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he
he
did.
cashed
You said
his
I wouldn't
check.
be able to catch
I
it.
did.
No, you
I
cashed
sure
it,
did.
man.
You proved
cashed
me
it
wrong,
for
my
sure.
friend. I
Scraby,
gotta tell you though, this is further proof that whatever we got him with that
the
tie,
tie thing,
was
yeah, 'cause
super weak.
this is less than a 10,
he's
right?
He's over here having a difficult time.
You're turning a little red,
The tie
Scraby.
was just as bad.
You're turning a
this
little
hit me
red.
By the way,
faster.
this is delicious.
Oh my
Oh,
God!
he's going
Scraby,
with
another
more.
one.
Yes.
Come on, Adam. Wow,
Delicious.
you're gonna have to come back in 6 months with like an 88.
Oh.
It's 38.
We'll have to go with the higher Scoville next time.
All right.
Right.
Oh, wow. Look at this guy. He's talking
Drop-
trash now.
Well, he
I haven't had a sip of milk or bread.
He hasn't even reached for it.
No, he doesn't
came out
even
of the
need the
gates
bread.
talking trash.
All right.
All right. Now
Hey,
I'm
man.
going to take another one.
What?
Well,
Why
you got
are
you got a
doing
whole
this
other
to
spoon.
yourself?
No, because I don't want.
You don't want Adam to say
He
he
has
by
has
the way,
wheat sauce,
yeah, he
baby.
get the whole
Full spoon,
get the same
baby.
thing that look. He's dropping it all in
Just
there.
keep the studio clean.
It's all anybody's
Big
worried
boss
about.
Michael watching over here. Come on.
Woo, boy. Scrabe, get back in front of the camera. Your face is red, Scrabe. Isn't it, Tony? Are you
I'm
seeing
sweating.
the same thing?
You are sweating. Your face is definitely.
Why do you keep doing this?
You're not feeling anything?
Adam isn't even
Anything?
moved over
I
there.
feel a 1 or maybe a 2 out of 10 here.
Wow.
Adam
That's
Klug,
ridiculous because I'm.
Wow.
Adam Klug is a tough
Maybe
son
not
of a
bent
gun.
over the trash can.
No,
over
I had
there.
to spit.
I was going to say, it looks like Adam Klug may be producing the rest of the show because he's fine. Scraby may need
Scraby's
to
going to
go
bed.
get
bed. Yeah, you know,
assistance.
Here's want
Frank-
the milk, dude. It might
Frank
work
predicted
better.
that.
No.
Oh, did he?
Frank
Scraby's having
predicted that.
bread.
Oh yeah, that Adam would just cruise through this with
Frank
no problem.
predicted this.
He did.
Frank on the last show.
I
said
know you
Adam
had
would
it
have
like
no
that.
problem.
He did.
I got a newfound respect from Tony Gwynn Jr.
Yes,
here.
you do.
So-
all right.
So Scraby has the prizes for you, Adam. You have one, a jar of the ghost
You can
pepper
have as much of this
salsa
as you
Where
want
it
at
is.
all
and
times.
the,
Yeah.
Mr. Lane's roasty 38 chili powder.
You should let me have that chili powder though. I think I do. I think I would do more damage
Started
with
off
this.
giving me the mild. My
And what is before they try, what is the heat index they're facing? Do we know? Or
Well, you could look up the Scoville on a ghost pepper.
yeah.
It's one of the
Suspect.
world's hottest.
The
There's a couple of
Scoville.
hotters.
Scoville's the
Reaper
measurement
and
unit.
the
Okay.
X pepper and all of that.
Thanks for the education because I did not know. It was
I've
so
allowed
Yeah.
milk and bread, but if I was
So
asked,
tell
I would
us,
have
tell
said
us the
no.
actual rules of this. Like,
The rule
Want to see if he
is
can do it, I guess.
you guys alternate spoonfuls until one of you can't.
Yeah, that's, yeah,
One
that's
of you
not
can't
happening.
do it anymore.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
Until you-
We're back. Yes, we are. 3:07 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Kyle Glaser joining us here on this trade deadline that has passed.
Are we sure it's Kyle Glaser? Looks a little like Nostradamus to me over here.
He's an insider, so I mean,
I
that's
love
what
it.
happened.
Yeah, but we get insiders all the time. I mean, they're off base. I put him on the spot 10 minutes ago, and I said, there's 10 minutes to go to the trade deadline. The Padres could use one more pitcher. Who would that be? I mean, that is, you talk about making a pull. He says Casey Mize, and 10 minutes later, so it is Casey Mize. And I will never going to forget this, Kyle Glaser. Great job.
They had to have another pitcher. You could make the argument that they could get by without another bat, but you can't make the argument that they can get by with just 3 pitchers, right? And that's if assuming Nick and Joe come back, now you got 6. You got some extra there where you didn't have any there before. Now if assuming everybody gets back healthy, you got some depth there now.
Exactly.
We also found out what they gave up, and I have a feeling some of the Padre prospect lovers are not going to be happy. I'll let Kyle say it since he's the guy who had Mize coming in the first place.
Yeah, so the Padres acquired the full trade is Casey Mize and Gage Workman from the Tigers. They gave up Cash Mayfield, their first-round pick 2 years ago, and Jackson Wolf. Real quick, Gage Workman, good defender, can play multiple positions, has never really hit in the majors. He's kind of a minor piece here. It's about Mize and really Mayfield. I do think that Cash Mayfield will come back to hurt the Padres in a few years. This is a very talented young left-handed starter. He added 1.5 miles to his fastball this year. We're seeing everything tick up. He's up to 96, great right at top of the zone, really good changeup, sliders coming along. He's what you want your young left-handed starting pitching prospects to look like at this juncture. I think he's going to be a pretty good big leaguer, and we could look up in a few years, and that one hurts a little bit. But you look at this rotation now, you say, okay, Casey Mize, Robbie Ray, Michael King. When Pivetta and Musgrove come back, if they're healthy, that's a damn good starting 5. So it just comes down to now, okay, they've got the pieces, they need to execute. And to your point, Tony, all the rumors about them getting a left-handed bat, to me, that was a luxury. They had to get 2 starters.
No doubt.
And they got starter number 2.
It would have been a luxury to add new bar, would have been a luxury, certainly a luxury in my opinion, to add Burleson. But, given the lineup and those numbers you just gave to us, for about a month here in terms of what the offense has looked like, going from basically last to first, I think there's some belief that this is real. Now, this is the caveat with the offense. We need to see it against the elite. So the only thing we haven't seen it against yet is we've seen it against, decent to below decent pitching. Once you start getting into the elite pitching, which is what you're going to see come postseason, how will it fare then? And so I think that's really the remaining test. I think there's a belief, though, that this offense is turned a corner in a real way where you could get by this deadline without making a move for a bat. But you couldn't do that on the pitching side.
Let's also say the bat is not totally out of the question yet. The trade deadline has passed, but that doesn't mean something can still not be announced here in the next, 15, 20 minutes, half hour even. We've seen this happen before, and we will hear from A.J. Preller at 4 o'clock or right around 4 o'clock. They always say 4 o'clock for his post-draft news conference, and then it happens when it happens. But here's one thing I do want to point out, guys, as we talk about Cash Mayfield going to the Tigers and the Casey Mize. Cash Mayfield, number 1 pick. I'm just saying, the big name that the Dodgers got for Skubal was Zaire Hope, who was an 11th round draft choice. Now, I'm sure Kyle can tell, but see, I'm trying to make my point and make it worse than it is, Kyle.
Yeah, no, Zaire Hope is a better prospect. Zaire Hope has been a huge revelation. The Cubs actually drafted him, and I was doing the Cubs org for BA at the time, and I got a call at Instructs like, hey, keep an eye on this Zaire Hope kid. Okay. And that's when the Dodgers plucked him. I saw Marancho. He's legit. He's a legitimate.
He's definitely legit. He's definitely legit.
Power speed outfielder. He's in Double-A. Yeah, he is a better prospect than Mayfield. So I want to make that clear. But again, the Padres did give something up here, right? I want to be clear. I think sometimes we say, oh, this guy won't hurt us. He's good. But again, young pitchers go a lot of different ways. And if Casey Mize comes in and helps the Padres, A, make the playoffs, and B, advance through the playoffs, it's worth it.
Yeah. Well, it was worth it when Soto got here and helped us to the National League Championship Series. But I'll tell you one thing, Tony, we've all paid for it the last 6 months. Every time Abrams and Wood hit a home run, we hear about it. So
that's the life of trading prospects. Sometimes, like very rarely, actually, that's the life, right? Where you trade a dude and they become, Abrams and or Woods. That just, as I think, as Kyle said earlier, those are outliers. I can if I want me to pull the list out, I can name you all the other ones, and you can guess where they are now. And you would not be surprised at this point, I
No,
think.
I remember when the Padres made all those trades a few years ago, and I mean, a handful of guys going to the Marlins, and a handful of guys going to the Nationals, and a handful of guys going to the A's, and then we would talk about these guys, the whole list of them, even 2-3 months after it was over, and nobody could even remember any of who they were.
I mean, look, there were certainly some that hurt. You think about Josh Naylor getting away, and like Ty France going to Seattle. Now he's back with the Padres. So there were a few more, but I did do this study for Baseball America, and I updated it every single year while I was there, and I found that only 1 in 5 prospects traded at the deadline ever go on to even play 2 seasons in the majors. So,
And by the way, this is, I hope you heard that last part. Ever go on to play at least 2 seasons. We're not talking about an all-star or just a really solid player. 2 seasons.
Yeah.
1 in every 5.
Yeah. Now, sometimes those guys are the big hits, right? You mentioned Wood, Abrams, but more often than not, they're not those big hits. So again, I'm just going to go back to, it goes back to accurate talent evaluation. And I will say, I think there's a chance Mayfield is one of those 5. I do think he's a legitimately good young pitcher. But again, you got to trade something to get something.
Well, listen, the Padres are just the really bottom line is the Padres are no longer in a place as an organization where prospects are the most valuable thing, because ultimately they want to get to a World Series. They want to compete for the playoffs. And I think this staff believes that ultimately they can go out and find more guys and get them back to this spot. It's going to take some time to rebuild it at this point, because they have kind of have brought it, decimated it down to get this team where it's at. But it's the cost of doing business, honestly.
Before we go to break, real quick, did the Padres give up more to get Casey Mize or to get Robbie Ray, in your estimation, Kyle?
Casey Mize. Cash Mayfield is the best player they gave up today, and I think they want the brightest future.
All right.
Boom. There you go.
Well,
Is it me?
I'll look forward to having a conversation in 4 years about why we gave up Cash Mayfield.
For half a season, Casey
We'll
Mize.
hear about it, Skraby. You know that.
Yeah, 4 years from now, Chris. Let's pencil it in.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to break. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic
All right, so
Center.
here's what happened. I was at the corner, and I'm going to call out the streets because who cares? It was Claremont Mesa Drive and Ruffin Road, which is pretty close to our radio station here.
Yeah.
I had to run over and pick up a little cash from the bank. That was simple, trip before I came into work. And I'm on Ruffin Road, coming up to Claremont Mesa Boulevard.
Ruffin Road can be a little rough sometimes.
Well, they could pave that. It wouldn't hurt. Yeah, it wouldn't hurt. They can't call it paved road. I know that.
Wait, your issue isn't the potholes in the road?
No, that was I'm used to that. So we come up on Claremont Mesa, and we're at the stoplight. I'm in the left-hand turn lane to turn left on Claremont Mesa. I'm the third car back. And there's 2 left turn lanes. There's 3 cars in line here. And then the going straight is also red. And that is backed up, each of the lanes. So that I've got cars on my right. I've got cars on my left. I got 2 in front of me. I got people behind me. No big deal. Light cycles through. And our turn doesn't come.
Oh, no.
So the cross traffic gets to go again. And then the people coming across in our direction, they get to go again. And then for a second time, they skip our turn. Well, that's what I thought. So now...
Actually, you're not going anywhere. You're stuck.
Right, you're stuck.
You're not going anywhere.
And my first thought, of course, as a good scout or, athlete, is to look around. Is there any way out? Can I back up? Can I, I'll do anything. But there is nowhere for me to go.
No.
It happens a third time.
Whoa.
And I'm pretty clear at this point, this light's broken. And I'm starting to think, how are we going to get out of this? Am I going to have to call, the police to come and fix it? No one's going to know it's broken.
911 emergency response.
Yeah.
Where's your emergency? Ruffin Road in Claremont. The light is stuck.
The light is stuck. And so this is 5 minutes probably, but you can imagine 5 minutes.
No,
that's a long
That's a
time,
long
right?
time.
Well, when it comes to the 4th time, I finally start just leaning on my horn.
Oh.
I'm trying to get...
What are the people in front of you going to do?
Well, because there was a moment, right, after the traffic comes this way, It paused.
You want them to run the light.
You could at least a couple people could run the light. We could get this going here.
You want them to run the light.
I did.
Break the law.
Well, they had to. Otherwise, we'd still be there. Anyway, so this is going on. So I'm starting leaning on my horn. The lady next to me looks at me like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Good for her. Good for her.
And good for her. Yeah.
kidding.
I'm like,
I'm just
ma'am,
kidding.
are you just clueless? Were you going to sit here the rest of your life?
She has faith that the light's going to turn eventually.
Evidently so. If it had gone again, the guy next to me on this side rolled down his passenger window. That starts to go down. I think he's going to be mad. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure the light's broken. Like, how do you not know this? We've all been sitting here for 6-7 minutes now. The two cars at the very front of the left turn lane are not budging. So they apparently are content to sit there for as long
They
as it need be.
also have faith that the light is going to turn.
But I have no
What gives
faith.
them that faith?
Yeah, but what gave him the faith? I mean, it had cycled through 4 times now. The 5th time, I was going to just have to get out of my car and walk up to that and go, will you please do something? Or get, and if you don't, and I would have,
something.
you know what I would have said? If you don't want to run the light, just get out of my way so I can run the light. I'm not sitting here the rest of the day. And finally, on the 5th time, the first 2 people ran the light, and the next person was able to get you know what I mean? And after a couple more cycles through, I got out of there. But I don't know
Did
if
the
you're
light ever start working?
I don't know if you're at Claremont Mason Rough and Road, you might still be there. I don't know. This was 45 minutes ago or so.
Wow.
So my question to you is, how differently would you have handled this than I did? And I'll start with you, Tony. Would there have been any difference, or do you know?
I don't know if I would have laid on my horn.
You would have just never laid on
I
it.
think I might have maybe rolled down the window, see if I could talk to somebody, see what else.
See if
but
anybody else was in
I
on
don't
it?
think I would have laid on my horn because, listen, what you're asking is for them to, which may not be easy for everybody, and that is the timing between when because they're waiting for their light to turn.
Yes,
right?
they were
the
waiting
light's
for
not
the-
gonna, the
Yeah.
light's not going to turn, but that also then requires them to guess the exact kind of when the timing
True,
of
true.
when they can go. And
Yeah, well,
a
you know
lot
what?
of
Figure it
people-
out.
I think a lot of people wouldn't be comfortable with
running the light,
with
even
running the
under
light.
these circumstances. Well, I think
not when there's other cars that could actually hit them.
Okay, I think you are right. And the reason I think you're right is because of the 40 to 50 cars that were now piled up in my area behind me and around me. I was the only one honking.
Right, and then
nobody else thought to do this. All right, so here's what happened. I was at the corner, and I'm going to call out the streets because who cares? It was Claremont Mesa Drive and Ruffin Road, which is pretty close to our radio station here.
Yep.
I had to run over and pick up a little cash from the bank. That was simple, trip before I came into work. And I'm on Ruffin Road, coming up to Claremont Mesa Boulevard.
Ruffin Road can be a little rough sometimes.
Well, they could pave that. It
a
wouldn't
little
hurt.
rough sometimes.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt. They can't call it paved road. I know that.
Wait, your
can
issue isn't the potholes in the road?
No, that was I'm used to that. So we come up on Claremont Mesa, and we're at the stoplight. I'm in the left-hand turn lane to turn left on Claremont Mesa. I'm the 3rd car coming up on our trade deadline coverage, which is brought to you by City Cruises Live. Experiences done right. Chris Ello and Matt Skraby broadcasting from the Bill House Studios. We know how. Tony Gwynn Jr., he's got a game tonight. Don't forget, Padres Diamondbacks coming up a little after 6:30 tonight. And it's kind of a big game. It's fun to have the trade deadline day, but you have to get back to business here. Diamondbacks and Phillies are both 1 game up only on the Padres. That means Padre win tonight. You're right back in the playoff spot following a 3-game sweep of the Giants to close down that 4-game series. If you're just tuning in, Kyle Glaser sitting here. And, look, I was a fan of Kyle before, but now I will forever, kneel at the altar of Kyle Glaser, who told us 7 minutes before the trade deadline ended that Casey Mize would be a perfect fit for the Padres. And so it is that Casey Mize less than 10 minutes after he said that, officially became a Padre. So,
So when I said Robbie Ray on Friday, you're not going to give me any credit about
Yes.
that?
well, you did say Robbie Ray, but we were talking about his performance in the
Yeah, that's
previous
true.
game.
That's
So
true.
we did talk, you're right. Skraby, you're right. You and I talked a lot about Robbie Ray Friday because he shut down the Padres on
Yeah.
Thursday night.
Yeah, it's
So-
not usually. I don't think it's like the timeline where you get a guy who shuts you down and then immediately he pitches for your team.
Well, it's worked out that way. If you're just tuned in, those are the two pitchers, starters that the Padres have acquired today. Robbie Ray from the Giants, former Cy Young Award winner, and Casey Mize from the Detroit Tigers, right-hander, who, oh, by the way, in 2018, something Kyle Glaser had memorized, but something I certainly didn't remember, Casey Mize was the number 1 overall pick in the Major League Baseball draft that year. So coming out of Auburn, they saw things that they liked, and maybe some of it is starting to click in, Kyle, when you look at a 0.99 whip this year. The one bugaboo for Casey Mize needs to be mentioned, certainly. He has twice hit the injured list this year with a strained groin, and those can be pesky.
There's no question about it, but this is a case of a young pitcher who came out of Auburn, again, considered the best player in a relatively weak draft, got to the majors pretty quickly. It took him a little bit of time, right? We think so often about the Paul Skeens of the world, the guys who come in and right away become, aces.
And
or,
even he's now having some growing pains this year.
Exactly. And,
Yeah.
and pitchers especially, it takes time. In Casey Mize's case, it took time. He, missed all of the 2023 season, but he's started to figure it out. If the Padres can extend him after this season, that will obviously make this better, because this is the kind of pitcher that you would love to keep for many years. This isn't a situation where, he's 34. You
And
just
we'll
have
throw him away.
Just
Yeah.
have him for that. He's still 29 years old. I do think this is someone that will help the Padres down the stretch, and if they are able to extend him, is a quality arm that will help this franchise.
Well, obviously, and as I asked Kyle before the break, and Kyle's got to go here because he's just been incredible all day here. So, Skraby, the show's about to get a little dumber in the next 5 minutes after he leaves. But I asked you, I said, who did they give up more for, Robbie Ray or Casey Mize? And the big deal is the name of Cash Mayfield going in the Casey Mize trade. Yep. That is the one that, he's 21 years old. He was the Padres' number 1 pick last year, lefty. 150 strikeouts this year and 118 innings or something. A lot of walks. But, once he gets a little better command, he's going to be tough to hit. And, this is the one that may come back on us here down the road.
Yeah, Cash Mayfield, again, I mentioned it before the break. We're really starting to see him blossom. That fastball continues to tick up. It's now 93, 94, touching 96. He keeps adding velo every single year. He's getting bigger. He's getting stronger. He's got a great changeup. The slider's coming along. I mean, it's 3 pitches, and you mentioned the walks. They've gotten better this year. So everything's improving. Really, everything is arrow up with Cash Mayfield. This is what a mid-rotation left-handed starter looks like when they're 21 in A-ball. Now, again, young pitchers, there's always injuries, things go sideways, maybe something stunts in the development, but he is good. And this is where, again, I would say when you compare what the rental price was for other rentals
today, yesterday,
again, ignoring Tarek Skubal, right?
Okay,
That's a
leave him
special
out
case.
for the moment.
But you talk about Kevin Gausman, you talk about Freddie Peralta. I will say the Padres did pay above market price a little bit on this one.
Okay.
Just given what we're seeing the price point was for other rentals. They've done that in the past. When they've done that, those are the kind of trades that have kind of come back to bite them. But it's done. I think at the end of the day, right now, I do think the Padres are in better position to make the playoffs and potentially win a round, and you never know what happens after that, given the additions they made today. They are better today at 3 p.m. than they were this morning at 8 a.m., and that's what you want out of a trade deadline.
Well, I do, and I think most Padre fans wanted it. I mean, after all, as late as last week, Skraby's favorite reporter, Bob Nightingale, said it was almost a certainty that the Padres would trade Mason Miller, and if they didn't trade him, it was beyond a certainty that they would trade Adrian Morejon. And frankly, I'm glad that neither of them, at least unless something comes down here, after the deadline that gets announced, they're both here. And I just am so happy that they are here. I understand that you're going to have to re-sign Morejon eventually if that comes to it. But if you want to do anything this year, that 8th and 9th inning with those two players, and hopefully Jason Adam gets back and Estrada at the back end, that is an advantage the Padres had, and I didn't want to give that away.
There was always going to be the potential for them to trade from their bullpen depth. Again, if they had fallen out of it, let's not forget, they were 50 and 53.
I know.
This stretch of winning 8 out of 9 has completely turned around their season.
Yeah.
At that point, I thought it would have made sense to trade Morahone, given you're under 500, you're way out. He's going to command something nice. I think you always look at like a Jeremiah Estrada, Wandy Peralta, Yuki Matsui, all of them were on the table. But once the Padres reeled off this stretch, combine it with the Phillies kind of falling apart, the Nationals falling apart, the Marlins spiraling, now that they're a game out of the playoff picture, it made sense to do what they did today.
For sure. And don't go anywhere now. Look, here's a couple of quick things I just want to tell everybody that's coming up. One, AJ Preller does his post trade deadline press conference. That should be somewhere around 4 o'clock. We are going to carry the whole thing for you. So you'll get all of the insight from AJ, and I'm sure hard-hitting questions from the likes of Sam Levitt and all of those who are going to be on the case there. So AJ's press conference coming up. Before then, in the next segment after Kyle leaves, if you haven't been around this all day, I will take a moment to run through the names of the bigger name players that were traded here in the last 48 hours. So you'll get caught up on who everybody acquired. And I also think, interestingly, a whole list of players who weren't traded, at least unless, again, I have to caveat this in case something happens, gets announced. But top name players who are not traded that a lot of people had being traded: Zach Neto, the Angels; Jeremy Pena. I don't know about Pena so much. The Astros are in first place now. George Kirby, Mariners; Otto Lopez, I heard his name; Hunter Goodman, Rockies; Reed Detmers, Angels. So, Josh Hader's name was on this, although now the Astros are back in the hunt. So you see that not everybody who's rumored to be traded gets traded.
One of the things I think it's important for people to really understand, it is hard to line up on trades. For every trade you see, there's 10 to 15 trades that were discussed that don't come to fruition.
It couldn't quite work, yeah.
So I think it's important for people to understand, and it seems crazy to say that on deadline day when we see trade, but this is the product of months of scouting, conversations that began long ago. And look, sometimes you just don't line up on guys, and if you're the Angels, you keep Reed Detmers and Zach Neto. You can also trade them in the offseason. So just because they don't get traded today doesn't mean they're not ever moving.
It means it's a sad day for both Reed Detmers and Zach Neto, though, because they have to stay with the Angels for another 2 months at least.
Yeah.
And, mired in difficulty with that ball club. All right, Skraby and I are going to come back. We're going to kick around the whole Tarek Skubal trade one more time or 2 more times, who knows. I will run down all of the big name players that were moved today: the Kevin Gausmans, the Luke Weavers, the Dustin Mays, the Tyler Mollies, Luis Arise got traded today. And so if you're wondering where everybody went, we will update you on that. AJ's press conference at 4 o'clock. Kyle Glaser, thank you isn't going to cover it.
Thank you very much,
so
Kyle.
Outstanding job as always. We really appreciate it. And, every time Casey Mize pitches now, you're the guy on that
You
one.
really
that's
have no idea how this is going to stick in his head.
Oh, he's going to love this more than you can imagine. So great job, Kyle.
Thank you, guys. My pleasure. Always happy to join you.
All right. Gwynn and Chris continues. A lot more ahead. And through it all, the Padres have put a lineup out because there's a game tonight. Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. Chris Ello, Matt Skraby, together in the Bill House Studios where we know how. And all the guests here on the program, of course, join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not big bank banking, it's better. Hail to the Church of Kyle Glaser. Skraby, am I overdoing it?
A little bit. A little
right.
bit. I'm going to be honest.
A little bit, but he did nail it on Casey Mize, and that impressed me. All right, give me a lineup tonight as Michael King gets ready to face Brandon Fought of the Diamondbacks.
I actually haven't seen the lineup yet.
Oh, well, I'll give it to you then. Fernando's leading off, of course. Jake's hitting at second. Machado gets some DH work tonight. Ty France at first base. Jackson Merrill, Luis Rengifo in left field. Campusano catching. Bogey at short. Sun Moon Song, third base. Tonight with Manny getting the DH. I will say, the one thing that stands out about that lineup to me, Skraby, first time I can remember in ages that Gavin Sheets has not been in there against a right-handed pitcher. Obviously speaks to the slump he's been in. So, and it might just be because they wanted to get Manny at DH, and that's just how it worked. But it does it stands out to me a little bit. We will have Sammy Levitt's pregame show at 5:40. I can give you a preview of it. Sam Levitt came in here a moment ago and said he loves what the Padres did at the trade deadline. And I got to say, Skraby, I'm trying to pick it apart a little bit, but pretty happy with what the Padres did. They've added 2 legit arms here to help them, and they didn't part with anything at the major league level anyway.
Yeah, that's a win, I think.
You know, we'll see how it goes. Cash Mayfield is going to be something that we'll have to hold our breath on down the road. But, I think mostly, and I'm sure A.J. Preller will certainly be asked about trading, therefore, the Padres' former number 1 pick to the Tigers for the former number 1 overall pick in baseball. Casey Mize coming to the Padres from Detroit. Robbie Ray, former Cy Young Award winner from the Giants. All right. Scrape, I thought it'd be fun to go through, just kind of catch up everybody up on who got who.
Yeah, there's been a lot of trades today.
And I hope I don't miss anybody, but it's certainly a possibility. I've been trying to get them all. So let's start with the NL West. We know what the Dodgers got, but along with Skubal, they picked up another lefty pitcher from the Royals, Chris Bubic, who I believe is hurt right now, but just another arm for the Dodgers from KC. Padres, Robbie Ray, Casey Mize. The Giants really basically traded away people, but they did get Marcelo Mayer, the former San Diego high school star.
Yeah, replacement for Luis Arraez.
Right. He should take Arraez's spot there, but he's hurt too, I think. He hasn't played since the end of June.
He's been, up and down.
So Arizona just made really its only splash of the day with Lars Nootbaar. Now, they did get Kepler. Remember, he had been on the suspension list. He's been back for about 3 weeks now. Nootbaar, they still need what the Diamondbacks really need is a solid center fielder. I don't know that Nootbaar is that or not down the stretch. We'll see what Arizona does there. On to the NL Central. The Cubs added some names for sure, including 2 right-away ready starting pitch. Well, I shouldn't say right-away ready. Kevin Gausman's ready right away. Clay Holmes from the Mets, who's still injured. He's supposed to come back, though, within the next week or two. Braxton Garrett, a pitcher from the Marlins, a lefty who's been kind of up and down minors, also to the Cubs. Ryan Zephyr-John, a reliever. And then an outfielder who came in the Clay Holmes trade, Tyrone Taylor, goes to the Cubs. Today, Pittsburgh added 2 guys for their bullpen. I don't think this is bad for the Pirates, Luke Weaver and Camilo Doval. Now, Camilo Doval has lost whatever greatness he seemed to have with the Giants. Got beat up pretty good with the Yankees. Luke Weaver, I think he's the closer, to be honest with you, if I'm the Pirates. The one thing the Pirates didn't address in the trade deadline today was who's going to take over for Ryan O'Hearn. The former Padre got hurt, quad injury. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. That's a bat that they're going to be missing quite a bit. Milwaukee added Dustin May to their starting rotation. It's no Tariq Skubal. A lot of people are really, including Kyle Glaser, kind of mad at the Brewers, man. They could have been the team. J.J. Romero, Antonio Senzatella, a couple of relievers, and catcher Bo Naylor to the Brewers. Philadelphia Phillies, Luis Ariz. That's the big name there. The Phillies get the batting champ, former Padre. With that, the way they're talking anyway in Philadelphia, Bryson Stott goes to third base. Alec Boehm goes across to first base. And Bryce Harper back to outfield now with the Phillies once the Ariz gets there. Atlanta Braves, Tyler Mahle added to their pitching staff. He has had a bad year, but he was pretty good last year. You never know. Lane Thomas, a platoon outfielder. And Brett Sutter, a lefty reliever, long reliever, comes to the Braves. Washington got early the pitcher from the Red Sox. That was actually a week or so ago. And really the Nationals traded people away more than anything else. American League teams, the Yankees get Luis Garcia from Washington. The National League slugging percentage leader. How much money could you have won on that bet? Like, nobody know that.
No.
Not even Luis Garcia, I bet, knew he was the slugging percentage
Garcia
leader.
wasn't going to go to Kalshi and make a bet on himself.
Incredible, but he's got Yankees. So is Heliot Ramos from the Giants to the Yankees. The Red Sox struck with Adley Rutschman from the Orioles. I saw an interesting take from Buster Olney. He's not wrong, but the Orioles basically tanked 4 seasons, so that they could end up drafting the likes of Jackson Holiday, who they didn't trade, but the likes of Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, whoever they got, right? Yep. The Orioles, out of that, won not a single playoff game.
Not even one.
Not one game, and now they're already, looks like, retooling again. It just goes to show the whole thing with the prospects and the young players. You think it's always going to work. It doesn't always work. That's why, to me, I try to win when I can.
Yeah.
I know people say, well, you got to plan for the future. I'll say I'll deal with the future when I get to the future. And the Orioles are a prime example of it.
I'm really surprised that because they really loved Adley Rutschman, and all of a sudden it seemed like he fell out of favor or whatever.
All they got from the Red Sox is prospects. So again, it's like the Orioles are telling their fans, well, we're going to just wait another 4 years. Like after a while, it's like, Chris, when are you going to do something?
Can you imagine if the Padres traded Mason Miller today, which they didn't? So I'm very happy, and I could say this. But can you imagine them trading Mason Miller and then having 4 prospects return? What are we supposed to do with that as fans? The Padres always needed to go for it, and they always were going to go for it.
I love, there's time to rebuild. There's times to take a shot. The Padres, again, with Fernando and Manny, are in that realm where they got to keep taking their shots. Tampa Bay Rays, a couple of good additions for them, I think. Potentially, of course. Freddie Peralta struggled mightily with the Mets, but now he can go back into the relative quiet of Tampa Bay. And Liam Hicks, catcher from the Marlins. Now, I know a lot of people from the Marlins perspective are saying, what are they doing trading a guy who's their RBI leader? And
they found someone new.
Well, the thing with the Marlins is they kind of had a bit of a logjam going. They have like 11, 12 guys. They can't get them all into the lineup. So that is, I think, part of what's behind trading Liam Hicks. And he's not been as good the last 2 months as he was early in the season. But Tampa Bay gets him. Toronto gets Soriano, the hot pitcher from the Angels. What's Toronto doing? They traded away people, Gosman and Varsho, but then they trade for Soriano from the Angels. What are they doing?
That
makes no sense.
I don't know.
To me.
Ed McKee has a really good point about Pete Alonso in Baltimore. He just signed a free agency there, and he's going back to like rebuilding.
Yeah,
that's gotta make me angry if I'm Pete.
Of course, good point. Very much so. White Sox, they get a guy named Joey Bart. You know who he is.
I know.
And the Bart guy from San Francisco.
Yeah.
Catcher. They also get Luis Castillo, starting pitcher from the Mariners, and Brenton Doyle. Finally, the Rockies. Now, they didn't need him anymore after he had won a couple of Gold Gloves. Cole Carrick has kind of looked the part there for the Rocks. And Brent Doyle is gone now in Colorado. All I can say about that, I didn't look at it, but I guarantee you the prospects the Rockies got will all stink. So, because their evaluation of talent is so bad. Cleveland was a team that Kyle Glaser was happy with. Foster Griffin, lefty for the Nationals. They pick him up, and Joe Adell, potential slugging outfielder from the Angels. Blake Perkins from Milwaukee. Minnesota adds Jeff Hoffman, former closer for Toronto. I think he closed last season for Toronto.
He closed in the World Series.
Yeah, not too well, but he's the guy in Minnesota. AJ Minter and Dean Kramer, a starter for the Twins. And then AL West, last and not least, Houston gets Dalton Varsho from Toronto, who we said earlier we can't figure out what they're doing. Texas, Logan O'Hoppe from the Angels. Seattle, Taylor Ward, slugger from Baltimore. And if I missed somebody, then I missed them. But I got as many there as I could. I've been writing them down all day. So there you go.
Yes.
The trade deadline.
We do have AJ Preller coming up here.
Yeah.
4 p.m. or so.
Right. So we'll get...
No Chris versus the fans for today. We'll get back to everything tomorrow.
You want to just call the Padres and tell them we need to do Chris versus the fans and to hold AJ off till 4:15?
Yeah, I think that would be nice, actually.
I think they'd be willing to help us
what
there,
I'm going.
don't you?
You know what I'm going to do, Chris? I'm Chris versus the fans web app 2.0 is ready to go. I worked all weekend on this thing. All weekend.
So does that? I don't really.
It's ready.
I don't
It's
really
ready.
know what that means, other than
It
to say
means
that
I had to
there will be all
trial
kinds
and
of
error.
issues with Chris versus the fans starting tomorrow.
I think I'm ready. I tested it. It worked. I'm ready. I'm ready.
I hope you're right.
I also have to tell you, Chris, this happened after the game yesterday, but Gavin Sheets walked out of the stadium with a boot on his foot.
Oh, well, that could. You
plantar
should have mentioned it. That's why he's
fasciitis.
not in the lineup tonight. Maybe that's why.
I know.
I had said
You were cruising.
Sorry?
You were cruising through
so
the
you
lineup. I didn't
didn't,
want to
okay.
stop you because I interrupt you too much. So.
Yeah, okay, so that may explain even more than why Gavin's not in the lineup tonight with the boot on. No good.
Yeah, plantar fasciitis. That hurts.
Not only does it hurt, it doesn't really go away.
No.
It's something you gotta deal with pain.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only way. So, yeah.
Just deal with it. Pain all the time.
Wish the best to Gavin on that recovery. All right, real quick, let's recap now the two pitchers that the Padres got. So everybody's a little more familiar with who they have. Robbie Ray is 34 years old now. He's a Tennessee guy, Brentwood, Tennessee. He was originally a 12th round draft choice, so I guess he worked out pretty well, considering he ended up winning a Cy Young Award. Robbie Ray did.
He did that with the Mariners?
He won that with Toronto.
To Toronto, okay.
Yeah, he won that with Toronto in 2021. That year he was 13-7, pretty pedestrian for a Cy Young.
That does seem like
2.84 ERA. He also led the league in strikeouts and WHIP that year. So that probably, tells you why he was able to win it. He was 10-6 this year with the Giants with a 3.08 ERA. But I think the thing that is, has to, hopefully excites the Padres and their fans is that Robbie Ray has been all but unhittable since June, Skraby.
Yeah.
He has gone since June, all right, with 5 innings, no runs, 2 innings, 5 innings, no runs, 6 1/3, no runs, 8 innings, no runs, 8 innings, no runs, 6 innings, 3 runs, 5 innings, 1, 4-1, 6-0, 6-1. So he's allowed, in the last 2 months, this guy's allowed 11 runs total.
Yeah.
In his last 10 starts, and 5 of those were in one game. So he's been really good. He's 7-0 in that span. So you're getting what you would think and hope is a red-hot Robbie Ray.
Well, we just saw it, so I can confirm that he was good.
Yes, he certainly was. So I think, that part of it is good. And then the other acquisition is Casey Mize, who I think we all know less about, but former number 1 overall pick in all of Major League Baseball, 2018. He's out of Auburn. Auburn. He's always pitched with the Tigers. And
whoa, that's kind of crazy. He was
Auburn
a Tiger
Tiger to
in
Detroit
college
Tiger?
and a Detroit Tiger.
Yeah, well, no longer. He's now a Padre. He did go 2 injury stints this year with a groin injury. That is something to be a little worried about, but he's back now, and he's 4-6 with a 2.70 and a 0.99 whip. That is what I like the most.
Oh, Chris is never going to see a walk.
I hate walks.
I know you
that.
do. I hate him too.
This guy's got 85 Ks, 19 walks this year. I like that.
That's a really good ratio.
Really good. Casey Mize, Robbie Ray. Stick around. AJ Preller. He'll be talking about it all as Gwynn and Chris continues. Chris, hello. Yeah, we're here in Cooperstown for 97.3 The Fan. So excited, the induction weekend for the great Trevor Hoffman. What a class he's going in with, too. Let's take a look. Of course, Alan Trammell from Kearney High School in San Diego. And then, of course, the Detroit Tigers' great shortstop, Jack Morris, in a Tiger uniform there, but I always remember him pitching that 1-0 shutout in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series for the Minnesota Twins. Maybe the greatest postseason pitching performance of all time. Chipper Jones, Padre fans remember him. Every fan of a National League team remembers him because he would come in and do damage to that team. Only the second #1 overall pick in the Major League Draft, Chipper Jones, to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The other is Ken Griffey Jr. Vladimir Guerrero. Never met a pitch he couldn't swing at. And powerhouse hitter for the Expos and then, of course, the Angels at the end of his career. Jim Thome, over 600 home runs, mostly with the Cleveland Indians. And then, the guy down here on the end who used to get all these guys out all the time, Trevor Hoffman, the greatest Padre reliever of them all. Two of the greatest outfielders in the history of baseball. Of course, you've got Babe Ruth right here. Ted Williams right over there. I was wondering who the third outfielder would be. And then, of course, it hit me. Tony would be upset if I didn't say that the third outfielder, who will someday probably be displayed right here between these two guys, is obviously Mike Trout. And this is the San Diego Padres locker room here in Cooperstown. Obviously, a couple of jerseys there and hats, gloves, all-star stuff. I think the most interesting thing in this entire display, though, especially this weekend, is a picture in the top corner of Angus Young. He's the guitarist for AC/DC, wearing a Trevor Hoffman uniform, obviously playing Hell's Bells. I know that Trevor went to many AC/DC concerts and was honored by sitting in the front row to watch AC/DC play Hell's Bells in his honor. But there's a picture of Angus Young playing Hell's Bells for Trevor Hoffman, wearing the 51 jersey right there. the press conference situation. We welcome you back to Gwynn and Chris. 4 o'clock. Tony was on, of course, earlier. Kyle Glaser was on with us breaking down the trade deadline, which has come and gone, but not without a couple of last-second moves trickling in. Kirby Yates, we remember, going to the Pirates. Was he Angels this year?
Yes, he was.
He moves so often, I can't tell. And
Unfortunately, for him.
Luke Bakar.
Lake.
I'm sorry, Luke. Whatever.
I like to go vacation at Lake Bakar.
I know. He gave up like 9 runs the other night
did.
to somebody.
He gave up a bunch of runs against the Padres.
Yeah, that's right. The Padres bombed him. He goes from the Marlins to the Pirates. So Pirates totally revamped their bullpen with Luke Weaver, Camilo Duvall, Kirby Yates, and Lake Bakar.
Thank you.
There you go. So that's the latest there. And, we continue here from the Bill House Studios where we know how. A.J. Preller on the moves that brought the Padres, Robbie Ray and Casey Mize. His press conference is coming up anytime now. And Skraby will give me the high sign, and then we'll get to A.J. In the meantime, Padres are getting set to take on the Diamondbacks tonight. And it'll be Michael King on the hill. It'll be Gavin Sheets sitting it out. Even though a right-handed starter, Brandon Pfaadt, throws for Arizona. Skraby talking about him leaving the game in a boot yesterday. Nothing about the injured list today, Skrabe?
No, I haven't seen that.
No, me neither, but certainly a little concern for Gavin right now. Rengifo is in left field. And Sun Moon Song will play third base tonight with Manny on the DH slot.
Tony just texted me. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's Lake Bakar.
Oh, even Tony's up on
Lake Bakar.
Wait a minute. Okay. Something's going on in the world when Tony Gwynn Jr. is now our pronunciation
well, I think maybe
updater.
He just called the game, so that's why he knows.
True.
But Lake
Thank you,
Bakar.
Tony. Lake Bakar.
Yes.
By the way, now that he's a Pirate, can't see him ever getting another mention on this show again. So
now he's a Pirate. I don't know. Pirates retooled their whole bullpen.
Well, that's what I said. Here's the interesting thing now to me, as you look at, what teams, right, Skraby, are into it and what teams are punting. And we'll talk about that after the A.J. Preller press conference, which starts now.
Oh,
no?
He was sitting there, and now they took it away.
And he got up. He left.
He got away. Here we go.
Here we go. Skraby says, listen up to AJ.
Please put your name and affiliation into the group chat, and we'll go ahead and call on you, and we'll go ahead and get started with Sammy Lev, 97.3.
Hi, AJ. You were able to add 2 rotation pieces today, and Robbie Ray and Casey Mize. Can you walk us through your mindset entering this trade deadline period and how you landed on those 2 pitchers in particular?
Yeah, I mean, I think we knew that going into it. Obviously, on the starting pitching side, we've been hit by injuries, and we knew that was an area that we looked at as a spot that we wanted to try to bolster. And I think it lined up too with what was out there on the market. There are a lot of starting pitching possibilities. Some starters that are going to be free agents at the end of the year. So again, I think overall like a need, and then what was on the market, and specifically 2 guys like Robbie Ray and Casey Mize, just their track record. Robbie's been one of the better lefties in the league here for the last decade, and we just saw him the other night, so we got a firsthand look at what he brings to the table. And then Casey, you're talking about a guy that was the first pick in the country. And it's been thrown very well for the Tigers as well. Has some, both guys, again, have a lot of experience. Casey pitching in the playoffs, with the Tigers as well. So I think those are all factors for us.
Your team has clearly played really well lately. You've won 8 out of 9. You've made progress in the standings. Did that impact how you approach this deadline as compared to how you might have approached it had your team not went on this kind of run and made that kind of progress?
I mean, we look at, there are a lot of factors. Obviously, we look at, our club, what's out there. We have, pretty set lines about what we think is fair value for players, and on both the acquisition side, or if we're going to go down the path of doing some buying and some selling. But obviously, like looking at where your team's at in the standings and from a competitive standpoint, how well they're playing, I think that always factors in. You're going to be cognizant of that. And over the last 10 days, they played really good baseball, and the offense is playing well. The chemistry and the vibes on the team are good. So again, I think for us, we're in a pennant race. We understand that. We want to do some things to bolster our shot.
We'll go to Kevin Acey, San Diego Union Tribune.
AJ, you probably needed a left-handed bat. You didn't get one, but you did go like really deep with the starting pitching. Like, getting these two quality guys kind of enough? Was going that hard to get the starting pitching? Was that like part of or in any response to not getting the extra bat that you wanted?
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of different combinations that we looked at. I think we've talked about it. Improving the offense potentially with the left-hand bat, and then obviously improving the rotation. We looked at potentially ideas that would have helped us on the offensive end and also on the pitching side, but ultimately we just didn't line up with things that we felt like would have been good for the Padres for now or for the future. And the offense has played well. We swung the bat really well. We like the guys in our clubhouse, in our room. We like the versatility that gives our team. We've got some guys that are out that potentially could come back also here in the next month. So those are all factors that we look at, and ultimately we didn't line up at the deadline for that left-handed bat, but we do like our options, and we've been one of the better offenses in the league over the last month. So I think it's just continuing more of what we're seeing. I think that's going to be a big key, and you got to get your pitching right. If your pitching's right, it usually gives you a chance, and that's ultimately where we ended up.
Hey, how pleasing was it that you didn't have to deal from the major league roster, and that with a supposedly depleted minor league system, you were able to get two of the top guys, starting pitchers on the market?
Yeah, it was as active, honestly, conversation period. It feels like the last few deadlines have been that way, honestly, I think for the industry, but I think particularly for us, like we were as active as we've ever been in terms of, interest level in our players. I think this year a little bit different. Over the last 6 years, we've kind of been in that buy mode and pretty clearly a team that could go to the postseason. I think 23 we were a little bit up in the air as well from what that looked like. But there's just a lot of interest from other teams in our players. So we know what we have in the system. It's always good to hear from the industry when there are players in your minor league system that people want. There are a ton of players on the big league team that people were interested. Ultimately, these were the deals that we made that lined up, and again, we feel good about what we have in the farm system, and hopefully guys that come up and play in Petco. We kept a lot of talent in the farm system here at this deadline. It's this is a period where you get a chance to see how the industry values your players, and it was a very active couple weeks since the draft.
We'll go to Tom Krasovic, SDUT.
Hey, we know what players you got, and we know what you were looking for in terms of, you mentioned the left-handed bat to go with starting pitching. Can you shed some light on what you accomplished in terms of gathering information that's beneficial? By that, I mean, because you're so active and teams know that you like to make trades and they like your players, I'm thinking you got a lot of good information out of this that beyond the players you got. I mean, I would think that people asked about Mason Miller and Adrian, and you learned a few things. Can you speak to just gathering information and how that helps you going forward?
For sure. I think, a period like the trade deadline, you have your internal ideas, and your scouts and your evaluators go out and give you a sense of what they think about the farm system. But when you get a chance to see what others in the industry feel like about your players, it gives you a very clear picture of how they see your organization. And I think over the last couple of weeks, it was very clear that we had a lot of guys that people have high interest in, both from the major leagues down to the Dominican Summer League. So that's always an interesting process, always a good process. But again, like you said, when you have talent, it gives you the ability to have flexibility and options. I hear at times about, like, hey, we have, some players signed to multi-year deals, and which again, a lot of those guys, the industry spoke in the last week to 10 days that they see a lot of the players we have with their with everything that comes with those players, contract stats, et cetera, super valuable players. So it enables you to have fun conversation, enables you to consider different options. That's part of, Tom, what this last couple of weeks is about.
And real quick, do you learn about how the other teams value their own players and prospects that you wouldn't have learned, things you wouldn't have learned without these conversations?
For sure. I mean, it's one thing to see a ranking or a publication, about how somebody values, a player from an outside or from a media chair. But I think when you're there and you're actually talking about, hey, would you do this player for that player, or this is how this is going to line up, or here's players that we like in our system, you get a very clear sense in real time about actual value of your players and other players, and that'll help us in future deadlines and in the off season, et cetera. You always take that information in. Our group does a great job of finding out, and having conversations and dialogue, and hopefully that'll help us down the road when we have other conversations, whether it be this off season or future trade deadlines.
Thank you.
We'll go to Jake with CBS 8.
Hey, AJ, was there any deal that you would consider was actually close involving Mason Miller?
I mean, again, I think we've let it be known, like from with any one of our players, it's like a very clear bar. Hey, this is we're going to listen at all times to any conversation that team wants to bring up. Ultimately, it's a high bar for all of our players, and I think for us it was we had to be in a spot where you're going to be open to how do you improve the team and the organization. What's the best path? So you're always going to look to do that. But at the end of the day, this was the path that we went down, and not going to get into, hey, we were super close here or there. I've seen different reports about offers and rejections, and that are most of the time those aren't accurate actually in this setting, but all I know is there was a ton of dialogue amongst all teams. I mean, you see again like another flurry of activity. It used to be, I think, a few years ago that there were only a couple teams that were really active at these deadlines. Now the whole industry sees this as an opportunity to get better, and I think it's great for baseball. And we saw that again this year.
You obviously haven't been shy about trading top prospects in the past. Was it important to you at this deadline to hang on to the one top 100 ranked prospect in Ethan Salas at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's always important to you value your players. It's hard to get really good, talented players. So I think I think specifically with Ethan, yeah, he's a guy that we've always thought really high of. It's great to see what he's doing this year, just getting called up to AAA and off to a great start there. He continues his progression towards Petco. So I think from that standpoint, we feel like we've got some high end players in the organization and in the farm system. Ethan obviously gets a lot of attention, but he's just good to see him doing his thing on the baseball field. And I think what the baseball group and the baseball operations department's thought about him, which is super high for a lot of years now. He's going out there on the field this year and getting it done, and it's been a lot of fun. And I think this year at the trade deadline, no real difference. Like we know what we have in Ethan, and I think I'm excited to see him here next month in AAA.
And then last quick one, and thanks for your time. Do you feel like a pending lockout or a looming lockout changed this deadline in any way?
I mean, it's definitely a factor. I think that everybody puts in the decision making. We do as well. I mean, you think about what may happen differently for next year. Economic system, reserve system, CBA talk. Ultimately, though, I think most teams, it's so hard to predict exactly what's going to happen there. So I think it's a factor. But I think we're seeing last off season in the free agent market, the trade market. For the most part, I think teams are still operating as if, hey, this is about what's best for the franchise, what's best for the here and now from a trade standpoint this year. And it's just so hard to predict what's going to actually happen. So I think every team, you have a little bit of that in your mind in terms of, hey, is something going to change? Are there going to be some rules that affect this deal or that deal? Ultimately, it's really hard to predict how that's going to work, and you got to make the decisions you have to make going forward in the current system and what we're looking at now.
AJ Cassaville, MLB.com.
AJ, obviously, there was a lot of interest in Adrian Morejon, like rightfully so, and he's a free agent after the season. Can you just kind of speak to why it was so important for you to keep him on board and to and the role he'll play in accomplishing what you want to accomplish?
Yeah, Adrian's been he's been tremendous for us this year. All-star last year, definitely could have been an all-star here this year. He's one of the best relievers in the league, and I also think the respect he has in that clubhouse. He's a guy that obviously signed by the Padres 2016, and feels like he's grown up in the organization as a 16-year-old player to where he's at now. Adrian's been, it's been a lot of fun watching his development, and you could tell from the phone calls that came in all week and the last couple of weeks, the industry appreciates and realizes, what kind of talent he is and the impact he's had in our, for our team and our organization. So I think again, he's set a high bar, kind of the standard for how you go about things. We understand that. And it's been good to see kind of the way he's gone about it. It's a big strength for our team, the back of the bullpen. He's a huge part of it. And you could tell the industry felt that way about him here this week.
And also, this may be a question for another day, and I'm sure I'm going to ask it on another day, but like the current state of your rotation going into the off season and next year, was that something you seriously weighed at this deadline? You added 2 starting pitchers, both of whom could become free agents, and you have some free agents obviously coming in. What kind of went into the balance there of just understanding where your rotation is now versus in the future?
Yeah, I mean, every year you've got to look to add starting pitching. We've been fortunate that over the last 5 or 6 years we've hit on, obviously with the starting with kind of Snell, Darvish, and Musgrove, and then being able to guys like Waka and Lugo and Nick Martinez and Michael King, Dylan Cease, guys that we've had for multiple years. I think in this case, needing some guys that we felt like could impact us here in this pennant race. And it's going to be something we have to look at in the off season in terms of, continuing to build the rotation and make sure that we're in a spot where we can be successful, but again, guys like Michael and Nick and Joe under contract for future years, Darvish. So, to me, I think these are things that they'll be part of the offseason calculus and where this goes. But for right now, I think the moves we made, it was about, giving this team an opportunity to go win and compete, and, adding, Casey Mize and Robbie Ray. They're guys that, they'll get opportunity here in these last few months to pitch us into October. So I think we're excited about that.
AJ Preller press conference on 97.3 The Fan continuing.
AJ, Adrian indicated yesterday he'd be interested in potentially staying long-term past this season, even with free agency coming up. Is that a conversation you've had with him just about his interest and your level of interest, and how feasible do you think that might be, especially with uncertainty about the CBA and ownership right now?
Yeah, obviously known Adrian for a long time. So we every once in a while we'll talk about it, we'll joke about it, but I mean, he knows the fact that, he has a lot of people here that believe in him a ton. And, he understands that, and I think he's made it be known that he feels like this is his home, and, the Padre organization is his family. He's a player that left Cuba at a super young age, and, not knowing if he'll ever be back in the country, not knowing exactly what that means with his relationship with his parents. He kind of grew up in this organization, and he's done a great job. I've known him for a long time, so we have the ability to to talk pretty openly and honestly, and we'll see what the offseason ends up bringing. I think for him, part of his maturity is kind of being in the present and the here and now and every day. And I know he's super focused on helping this team, get to the playoffs and then win in the playoffs and get to a World Series in October. And we'll deal with the other stuff here when we get to the end of the year.
On the Robbie Ray deal, the money that you got as part of that deal, how did that affect the caliber of prospects you had to give up to go back to the Giants?
Yeah, it's always part of the calculus. I think every team handles it a little bit differently. We've seen at different trade deadlines the last couple of years. It's been more keep it flat, and we have a budget and we've stuck to that. This year we were able to add some dollars, from a budget standpoint, and talking with John Seiler and Eric Rubner, and that's always a helpful part of it, is being able to talk about players like a Robbie Ray that has earned a big contract and has some dollars coming to him. When you have the ability to take on some of those dollars, I think that's all part of the calculus. If you take on all of the money, take on some of the money, usually it's some sliding scale on what you're able to return and get back. Some franchises care about it more than others, and we've been at different stages over the last few years. But yeah, I think that's a big thing, and it's consistent with we're trying to win. We're trying to win. We don't apologize for it. We're trying to win championships. We're trying to get to the postseason and do it year after year. So I think that was all part of this deadline for sure.
Do a few more in English. We'll go to Marty Caswell, Foul Territory.
Hi, AJ. I know Manny said that he took off his GM hat a couple of years ago, but how much did you hear from your players leading up to this deadline?
I tried to avoid the locker room the last week or so. It's been so busy with a lot of the trade talk and honestly, like pretty active on the phones. But those guys usually are not hesitant. They're not too shy to let me know, what they're thinking. But I think the cool part, honestly, was in the conversations, and I don't do too much polling those guys beforehand. But in some of the conversations that I would have with the group, they were hey, I think they were very much like, we have a good team, we have a team that can compete and win. If we can supplement, that'd be great, and there's a lot of trust there, I think, from all of us. But there's a lot of belief in this current group and this current team. So again, I think Manny's about the organization, he's about the Padres, and from his standpoint, the little bit we talked, it was all about, hey, let's do what's best for the Padres, both the short and long term. And again, I think all players are excited when they did their part, and then we have an opportunity to add some guys that hopefully help us win. We've seen that the last two trade deadlines. We've had teams that have been somewhat competitive in the first half, but then we were able to add some impactful pieces, and the team was able to take off in the second half and get to the playoffs. I think those guys have been through those experiences, but it's not an expectation every year. I think those guys let me know that, and that was kind of cool that, we trust and expect you to do what's best for the Padres, and we'd support it, either way, if we make a couple moves or we don't. That's always good to hear, honestly.
And I know it's really early in the process, in the rehab process, but with Pavetta and Musgrove, how encouraged are you that they could return, I guess, relatively soon and make an impact this season?
Yeah, I think right now we're getting some encouraging steps, and like we've talked about, it's it's a process, and I think for those guys, this is the most important part of the process, is going out and being able to start getting out and pitching in games, and then can you do it 5 days later and start to build up your workload? I think we have the ability now, with a couple of these trades that we made, to handle that process properly and let those guys build up. So when they come back, they're fully ready to help the ball club and help the team. But I think, again, it's been a positive last few weeks, and I'm excited to see those guys get out there and start pitching in games and rehab games, and then start seeing. That's when you really know. You can do all the plyo ball training, all the throwing programs, all the great work that Scott Hacker and his team does with those players. But when they get out there through our experiences, it's when they start getting into these games, and can you do it again 5 days later? It's when you really start to know, and we're getting into that stage right now.
Go to Jeff Sanders with the Union Tribune.
You're gonna love this one, AJ. Everyone's got an opinion this weekend. Are the Dodgers ruining baseball?
Again, I think we've, it feels like, we've seen them in the playoffs, a few times here in the decade. Obviously, we see them a lot. You kind of expect that, that a lot of teams in our division, and especially the Dodgers, are going to improve every single year. Personally, again, when you have, great teams and you have great players, it just raises the bar of other people and other players and other teams. And I think that's, again, our focus is on, at least this week, our focus is on what we need to do to get better in our group and our team. But when you've got a, highly competitive division or team, that definitely, can help raise the bar of what it looks like. I think for us, let people debate about, what it all means, but we understand, to come out of the National League West and the National League, you've got to be really good. We've had opportunity to see them in the playoffs. We're hoping to do it again here this year.
Do you think the result of the next CBA, are there practical things that you might like to see come out of that might level the playing field for all 30 teams?
I mean, again, like our focus, at least my focus right now is, the Diamondbacks tonight, our roster, how we're going to fit the new players in. A lot of faith that, there's people way above my pay grade that's what their job is to try to, figure out from an industry standpoint, what's the most exciting product, what's a product that fans want to come out and see. That usually involves great players and great teams competing at a high level. There's been a lot of really good things in the sport over the last few years that have been, that have been brought on from Central Baseball and from the players agreeing on some stuff. I hope that happens again now because it's such a good product. There's a lot of teams in the hunt this year. It's cool to see, and just excited about us competing here in the next couple of months, and then letting other people that are the experts in those areas try to figure out what's best for the sport.
Thank you.
We'll finish up in English with Barry Bloom.
Hey, AJ, how you doing?
Good, Barry. How are you?
Great. So just circling back on Musgrove and Pavetta, what's your gut feeling about how much you're going to see them this year? And after missing most of the season for Pavetta and the whole season for Musgrove, how much can you rely on what they have to give you when they do come back?
Yes, I think we're gonna know a lot more here, over the course of the next 3+ weeks as they kind of go through their programming. First steps here, this week as they go out and they start to get into some rehab environments. I think the good news is so far their ability to face some live hitters, velocity, shapes, pitches, like all on the right trajectory. They're feeling good, which is the best part. And their ability to bounce back and start pitching is, it's been encouraging to start. So that's been the great part. Again, we know what those guys look like when they're right, when they're able to contribute their, championship caliber pitchers, and they mean a ton to us. Not just like on the mound. I mean, obviously they go out and they're able to take the ball and start games and perform is huge. But those are leaders in our clubhouse, and I think from that standpoint, getting those guys back in on a regular basis will be a big boost, to the team. And I think everybody's really looking forward to seeing them here, in the last part of the season go out and hopefully help us get back to the postseason and pitch in it. And hopefully they're fresh and they're feeling good and they're able to go out and help us get to October and then perform in October.
All right, AJ Preller press conference, the last half hour. I think that gets everybody out there up to date on what he was thinking. Padres acquiring left-hander Robbie Ray. Padres acquiring right-hander Casey Mize. The biggest name they parted with was their former number one overall draft choice, their number one draft pick from 2024, Cash Mayfield. He goes in the Tiger trade, 21-year-old left-hander. In that trade that got Casey Mize coming here. The Robbie Ray trade, Miguel Mendez, who opened an eye or two, I would say, in spring training. Guy's got an arm for sure. And a young prospect who could be great in 2031 or something like that. And I'm not poo-pooing the guy entirely, because there are people out there that are really like thinking, "Oh man, the Padres got fleeced in the Robbie Ray trade because of this young shortstop." Or so we'll see. And his name is Hernandez.
Jonel
Hernandez.
I do love, and I know people have been saying this all day, but it is one of my favorite things when people have no idea who this guy is. They're all of a sudden,
but they're
upset.
all experts.
They're all of a sudden upset. He's 17. How could we give up a 17-year-old?
What are we doing? He's going to the Hall of Fame. Sammy Levitt had the best line. He said, "It's amazing over the last 2 hours how many Janiel Hernandez experts I've seen online."
It's so true.
When nobody knew who he was this morning.
No one.
Right. So Casey Mize, Robbie Ray, or Padres. We should also tell you that while that was going on, it was also announced Padres made another trade, actually. A former a reliever who was in the big leagues, Hunter Stratton, has been acquired, a right-hander by the Padres. Stratton has been with two teams this year. Started with the Giants, I believe. Let me just call him up again because I had it earlier. And now it's okay. I was looking up a bunch of stuff. He started the year with the Braves. He's been with the Pirates, but overall, Stratton this year has pitched with 2 teams, only 3 innings in the major leagues. So, but he has had plenty of major league time in the past. Overall, 62 games in his career, all out of the bullpen with a 3.88 ERA, which isn't bad.
That's not bad at all.
Pirates, Braves, back to the Pirates, now a Padre, right-hander Hunter Stratton. Jason Adam goes to the 60-day injured list, which isn't much different from when we were already hoping to get him back. Right now, the earliest he could come back is August 29th, 30th.
Yeah.
But that's about when he was due to hopefully come back anyway.
Yeah, the 60 day is a little bit different. A lot of people are asking this question. Is it retroactive? Yes. It goes back to when he was first placed on the 15-day.
His last game was June 29th. So
yeah.
July, August 29th would be when he's due back. Padres did have to trade somebody to get Hunter Stratton, and they traded a right-handed prospect, 26-year-old Andrew Moore. Moore, interestingly, came to the Padres from the Reds in a trade that sent Connor Joe to the Reds.
Oh, wow.
Remember Connor?
Yes.
Andrew Moore, this year between San Antonio and El Paso, listen to some of these stats. 30 games, 3.46 ERA, pretty good. In 39 innings, Andrew Moore, 62 strikeouts.
Dang.
Like, why are we getting rid of this guy? Here's why. 43 walks.
That's a lot.
Oh, my God. That guy drive me crazy.
Yeah, that would
He would drive
me
me crazy.
That would drive you crazy.
So please trade him, and they did. So.
Yeah, Hunter Stratton, if you can help, come on in.
Hunter Stratton, like I said, 3.88 career ERA in 62 games out of the bullpen, 62 strikeouts, only 17 walks in his career. So, right, middle of the road guy, but we're telling you about it because it's trade deadline day, and that is also another move that the Padres made. All right, good job, Skrabe. We're all over this today.
You too.
Who was it on the show today that predicted a trade for Casey Mize, and then it happened?
I think it was me.
You know what's funny is that it wasn't you. It was Kyle Glaser. But people listening to the show didn't know necessarily Kyle was here. So on the chat, there were people who went, Skraby nailing it on the trade.
Oh, yeah.
Great job.
It wasn't me. It was Kyle. It was
Kyle, but you got some credit for it.
I did get some credit.
You got some cred.
I'm not going to lie. I know who Casey Mize is, but I didn't ever think about him once in the trade deadline.
I didn't once think about him either. When Kyle Glaser brought his name up, I said, well, that's pulling a name out of thin air. But it was the name that the Padres ended up picking up right there at the trade deadline. Couple of the names of players that I heard when we come back. And
what did you hear? You heard them?
Well, you reading it or a rumor or
Okay,
something.
yeah,
Right. There was 3 or 4 guys that we heard their names in the mix.
Yes.
We'll tell you what happened there. And some of the guys that didn't get traded on trade deadline day as Gwynn and Chris continues.
Ben and
Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan, Bill House Studios, We Know How. Chris Ello here, Matt Skraby right there, Tony Gwynn Jr. in Arizona. Padres, Diamondbacks coming up. Sam Levitt's pregame show in an hour. Until then, more trade deadline coverage presented by City Cruises Live. Experiences done different. We are going to have a couple of tickets to give away here at the end of this segment to see Muse, M-U-S-C. Is that a group? I assume it is a music group of some
they're
sort.
They're actually very good.
Okay.
I've heard they put on one of the best shows.
Good show, put-her-honors.
Put-her-honors, because they have a bunch of like lights and cool stuff like that.
Well, they're going to do it at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater August 29th. You can get tickets now at Ticketmaster or win a couple before the end of this segment. I want to go over some of the names of the players the Padres, the rumors. You hear so many, but so you put whatever stock you can or you want to into some of these. But there were some names that the Padres, apparently were trying to get done and didn't work out. I want to talk about that in a second. But first, CBS Sports, at least, giving the Padres an flat-out A for their work today. Straight up A grade.
Okay, nice.
And I'll just read what it says. Talks about Casey Mize and Robbie Ray, saying that the Padres came into Monday needing at least one starter, and they left with two. We mentioned Mize, Robbie Ray. They did say, and I mentioned this, Mize has battled a nagging groin injury this year. I said he's went to the injured list twice, actually 3 times. So that's something I'm, going to keep in the back of my mind. It
Definitely.
says, but he's been terrific when he's healthy, and they say he is healthy now. I hope the Padres triple checked on that one.
You think AJ got down there and was looking at his groin?
Yeah, he might have. But I'm not going to say it. But AJ might have been getting a report for sure. It says, giving up Cash Mayfield hurts, no doubt. But the Padres are in a win-now team, and adding Mize is a win-now move. Padres also got Gage Workman in that trade. He's a utility guy. As Kyle Glaser said, not much of a bat.
Yeah.
We'll see if he ends up even on the Major League roster.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see how that plays out. I know the one guy that kind of just been hanging on to a spot there was Jace Bowen, but he finally hit his first home run the other night.
He did, and it was a no-doubter.
No doubter. So I was so happy to see that for Jace Bowen. But Padres get an A from CBS Sports. Speaking of them, our guy, Mr. Matt Snyder, will join us tomorrow with some trade recap coverage right here on the program, and he will join us tomorrow on the SDCCU fan hotline. Not Big Bank Banking, it's better. All right, so who did the Padres potentially try to get that they didn't get today? And I wanted to talk about one move. Well, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save the last one, the best one for last. Here's some names that we heard. You put it where you want to. Lars Nootbaar, left-handed bat from the Cardinals. He ended up going to the Diamondbacks.
Yes.
He's not had a great year. Remember, he missed the first, 2 months injured.
Yeah.
He really hasn't got into the groove. Goes to the Diamondbacks. Maybe if he can play some center field, they have a spot for him because they, have Kepler and Corbin Carroll. And they're looking for another outfielder there. Lures, you got old Gurriel in there, Tim Tawa. But, by the way, Tim Tawa made news this week. Outfielder for the Diamondbacks bunted to try to get a hit in the 6th inning against Cleveland's Gavin Williams, who had a perfect game going. 6th inning? Please. You give me 7th, 8th inning, different. 6th inning.
You're okay with the 6th inning bunt?
Yes, I'm okay. And they asked a manager, my guy, my hospital mate, Torey Lavello, about it, the Diamondback manager, and he said, look, he goes, we've gone through this. He goes, even I and Stephen Vogt, the Cleveland manager, once talked about this, and it happened against Cleveland. But we decided 6th inning's cool. You get the 7th inning, maybe you shouldn't be bunting and make up a perfect game. No problem with the 6th inning. But Cleveland had a problem with it.
What if the bunt...
the benches ended up emptying.
What? Yeah, that's so stupid. Yeah. What if the bunt is is like necessary? What if it's a part of the game?
Well,
what if you want to sacrifice?
If you're sacrificing, well, that's not trying to get a hit.
I guess
so.
you're
what they're
right.
saying, and if you had a
so
perfect,
he was bunting for a hit,
and you would not be sacrificing if the guy wouldn't have a perfect game.
I get
somebody'd be on base.
Yeah,
So,
6
good
innings
try.
a little too early. 6 innings a little too.
Well, here's
that's the dumbest part of my whole comment.
Yes, it
is that
was.
there was no one on base.
No one on base. The irony was that after Tawa didn't get the bunt down, he singled anyway with a regular swing.
All right, well,
so
ball
all
don't
that
lie.
made it kind of a moot point. But anyway, that's Newt Bar. The other name was Alec Burleson. Tony went crazy.
Yeah, he wanted.
And I
Alec
was like,
Burleson.
yeah, that'd be. Are you serious? Although, honestly, first base is pretty much it for Burleson. So what would you do with Ty France? DH? I guess you'd be fine with that. But Burleson,
Ty France is playing some great
no, that's what I mean.
defense.
No, so you're right. Ty France would have to say it first.
Yeah, okay.
Burleson would be your
Yes,
DH.
yes.
That'd be it. Didn't get Burleson. He had a 2-run homer tonight just to make us miss him even more.
Off of Schlittler.
But it was in the Yankee Stadium, that short porch, guys can reach it. Other name, Jackson Holliday. Youngster, he's got to still be 12, 14 years old now. He was so young when he started with the Orioles.
Still is.
And
young.
He's never panned out yet, but hey, he's so young. He also, would play kind of what, I don't know, Sun Moon Song plays, middle infielder, this time of thing. Song continues to do it on defense. Very much hit and miss at the plate.
Yeah, Jackson Holliday, I hate to say it, but I think it was more of a brand name type of thing.
So
with
you
them.
like that name, but you don't think it was really close. The other name was Trevor Rogers, who's a right-handed pitcher for the Orioles, 6-7 this year. But here's the one I want to talk about. And again, it's your guy, Mr. Nightingale, who reported this.
There was a lot of stuff with
All right,
Bob.
but here's the one that he reported, and the question is, did this happen?
Yep.
Did what Bob Nightingale said happened? So let me just take you through it. Bob Nightingale said the Padres turned down an offer from the Yankees where the Yankees send right-handed pitcher Will Warren, a starter, to the Padres in exchange for Adrian Morejon. I then saw somebody post it and said, no, it was the other way around. The Yankees turned it down. I also saw people who said, no, this wasn't really true.
Yeah, there's a bunch of finger pointing.
So, and Bob Nightingale, as much as we like Bob personally, he has been known to be flat out wrong on some of this stuff.
Yeah, I think Heyman tweeted that same thing, too.
Here's all I want to say. If there was any chance of the Padres getting Will Warren in exchange for Adrian Morejon, I can tell you right now, if there was a chance of that happening and the Padres would have said yes, I would have lost my mind.
Really?
Lost my mind. Will Warren for Adrian Morejon. The guy's got a 1.36 whip. He's got a 1.41 career whip. Yes, he's 8-5, but he's on a good team.
Yeah.
He's got a 4.14 ERA. To me, and who knows, Will Warren may eventually one day be an all-star. But all I can say is to now, he's 27 years old. Will Warren is a mediocre number 4 starter at best. At best, he's not better than Robbie Ray. He's not better than Casey Mize. He's hardly better than J.P. Sears or some of these other guys. And if you're going to trade for him and you're going to give up the advantage that Adrian Morejon gives this team, I just couldn't have done it. So whether it was a true rumor or not, I'm so happy it didn't happen.
And I
get.
I don't think it happened.
Well, you don't think it was even offered?
I think maybe they had someone tell them from inside the organization, hey, this might be on the table, but it was never true.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you look at the Bob Nightingale report,
yes, he said it
says it was offered and the Padres said no.
Yeah, he also seems personally slighted. It reads like he's personally
Yeah, I don't know
slighted
about
in
all.
this whole
Yeah,
thing.
well, he did. He wrote it as if to say, "Can you believe how dumb the Padres
how dumb
are?"
are you?
And I'll tell you, Bob Nightingale, even if you're sitting right here, and he's a friend of mine, I tell him, Bob, how can you even question the Padres turning that down? Morejon is way better. And I get the fact that he's a free agent. Don't forget, he's a free agent. The Padres could also re-sign him. It's not guaranteed. You could trade him to the Yankees and then re-sign him yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could.
Everybody says he's a free agent, you lose him. Well, you can always re-sign him.
Hey, he said
after
yesterday
all,
he wants to be here. So
after all, the Dodgers just picked up Tarek Skubal, and everybody says he's a rental. Not a rental. He is for the rest of this season, but the Dodgers will re-sign him because they're the only ones that can afford him. So
that's a whole other
discussion
for another day.
Yes, of course. But what do you agree with me on Morejon for Will Warren, or do you think that was an opportunity potentially
No,
missed?
I definitely agree with you. I think the Padres are set up for Adrian Morejon to be a part of the game, and it would have created a hole. I don't know where you go to get someone like that, a lefty who can come in high leverage situations, who could throw 100.
Is there a better lefty setup guy anywhere in baseball? No.
I mean, I would have to think, but I don't think so. The game is in pretty good hands when Adrian Morejon comes in. Will Warren's name has been bantied about for months because the whole Mason Miller to the Yankees thing, his name was a part of that. It was Will Warren and George Lombard and Jason Dominguez. And so if a team's trying to get rid of a guy so bad, is he really that good?
Well, I don't know. He's got a 109 strikeouts and 108 innings, so okay. But the 136 whip doesn't interest me.
No.
Not for the likes of Mason Miller or Adrian Morejon.
No. I don't disagree with you at all. I think that was a good no by the Padres.
No call.
I could even see it would be like the Yankees offer it and the Padres say no, and so Nightingale reports it. I don't think this was that serious.
I don't know about Nightingale as much as, his Twitter reporting is within question based on his past record.
It's suspect.
But again, it makes me kind of mad when people write something like that as if to say, can you believe how dumb the Padres are?
Yeah, like what are they doing?
No. And I saw Padre fans who said, the Padres are stupid. And I'm like, are they really?
I don't see it.
Was Will Warren going to put you over the top? And if so, you created a huge hole that you didn't need to create.
Will Warren's not going to take that place.
Well, first of all, you got Casey Mize, you got Robbie Ray. And if Musgrove and Pivetta if either of them, you don't even need them both now. Just need one of them to get healthy in time.
The rotation is all of a sudden crowded once again, Chris.
If they get healthy and you go King, Pivetta, Ray, Mize, it's not the worst thing I heard.
No.
Especially with our bullpen. One last quick thing, Skraby, something to think about during the break. Who are the Padres going to kick off the 26-man roster to make room for these two new acquisitions?
We have plenty of stuff to talk about still.
And we will when we come back. large, it's been a happy day for Padre fans. I know there are many who are probably going, what the hell are we doing? Cash Mayfield will never live that down. Perhaps, but for now, Casey Mize is a Padre. Robbie Ray is a Padre, and a team that needed starting pitching more than anything got 2 quality starting pitchers on the trade deadline day. Did not part with any major league talent, right? Ty France is still here. Modahone's still here. Cash Mayfield is a name that you know, so I understand why some of you are going to react and say, "Whoa, what are we doing?" But we'll have to see. I'm going to stick with what I said before, Skraby. I really think prospects are like a lottery ticket. And what I mean is, like, the Astros traded some no-name reliever 5 years ago to the Dodgers and then got Yordan Alvarez. That's a lottery ticket that clicked.
That's definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
There's no way you knew that day, nor did the Dodgers.
He might be like, hey, we see something that no one else sees, but you don't see superstardom like that.
So that's a lottery ticket. And, to me, the Padres willing to, take a couple chances here and go with 2 proven guys. I'm really, really bullish on Casey Mize's 0.99 whip. Although I'm worried about the groin injury.
Yeah, the groin isn't great because groin's hurt.
And they sometimes don't quite go away.
But
and
they
then
said
they
the
get
Tigers
tweaked here and there.
I mean, they go through physicals and stuff to have these trades happen. So I'm assuming that AJ Preller said that he's ready to go.
As you and I said, AJ Preller, I'm sure, was inspecting closely on Casey Mize. Robbie Ray, former Cy Young Award winner, 7-0. Has given up 11 runs in his last 10 starts. I'm just saying that sounds like a pretty good time to get a former Cy Young Award winner.
Yeah.
Everything's possible. They could both go 0-10 and the season, would go away.
Mm-hmm.
But I like what they're trying to do. They're giving it a shot. It's so much better than, say, the Orioles, who after 10 years of prospects got 1 division championship, won no playoff games, and then are back to collecting prospects. I don't know what that tells your fan base, other than the fact, we don't really care if we ever win.
Yeah, well, they got new ownership.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. And
because Adley Rutschman's the biggest name besides Skubal traded, would you say?
Yeah, I would think so.
Rise is pretty big.
Rise is pretty big, but Adley Rutschman was a rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Baltimore was like seemingly building around him. They loved him, and all of a sudden, I guess he fell out of favor. But
now he's a Red Sox.
Now he's a Red Sox. And another thing, in division, does that mean that you don't think he's going to hurt your team in the long run?
Well, yes, you do know that that's probably going to be a part of it. But I will say, in this day and age, winning your division is not the end all anymore.
No, it's not.
It used to be like you had to win your division.
Yeah.
So you would be stupid to trade in your division, but now there's room for you as a wild card. So that's why I get, not caring about that as much. All right, that's that. I had something that I was going to... Oh, no.
What happened? What are you talking about?
I forgot what I was going to talk about. That's what happened.
Well,
I know what I was going to talk. No, what? I remembered. I just remembered. I saw that sign. I remembered. This is, trade deadline stuff. We did it all. I mean, we've given you everything. I'll give you a recap here before the end. But a story that I saw online today, and I didn't click on it because I just didn't want to throw my phone across the room. But Skraby evidently did click on it.
Which one are you talking about?
Talking about our man, Pete Crow Armstrong.
Oh, I got to get this.
As we know how much, I am a fan. Now, Pete Crow Armstrong was on a podcast today. What in the world he's doing on a podcast with Kristen Cavallari? Now, she was the one married to Jay Cutler.
Yep.
So maybe there's a Chicago combination there. I don't really get it totally.
I'm not sure either.
But before I tell you what Pete Crow Armstrong's take was, somebody named Tom Paints tweeted out, and I agree with him, this has to be one of the worst takes I've ever heard in my life from any pro baseball player. So, Skraby, why don't you...
let's just play it.
Oh, you can play it?
Oh, yeah. This is on the Let's Be Honest podcast.
Oh, my God.
With Kristen
All right,
Cavallari.
If you're driving, just hold two hands on the wheel, because you're not going to believe what Pete Crow Armstrong said. Did he say?
He said it on the. You're going to hear it.
All right, let's hear it.
Babe Ruth never existed is one that I like.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Really? He never
Yeah.
existed.
I heard some pitcher with the Mariners. What's his name? Salcedo. You remember him?
Salcedo, yeah, lefty.
I
Yeah.
think he did some podcast on Zoom when he was like going down the rabbit hole with somebody about how Babe Ruth never existed. And I was like, dude, that's awesome. Like,
Wow. So you're gonna double down right now?
well, it's like we always talk about how like the game's evolving and like people might as well have been like underhanding the ball to that guy, and he's regarded still as one of the best players ever, and you might as well dive further into it and be like, well, maybe he just never existed.
I love it.
Okay.
All right, you know what? I'm going to give PCA just a tiny bit here. It sounds like he was just repeating something
Thank
he's
you.
heard before.
I don't know that he
rather than
actually
him
believes
saying,
this.
Right. Hey, Kristen, I got a thought.
Yeah, but
All right, so let's be fair to him before I go too crazy. But evidently, Pete Crow Armstrong is sharing a take by somebody that there was
Salcedo.
or whoever Salcedo is, that Babe Ruth never existed, and then PCA is kind of saying, yeah, why not?
I'll go with it.
Well, I'll go with it.
This is kind of fun.
Yeah.
What's with people in our society around the world that just determine that something didn't happen just because it happened a long time ago? Like, it's crazy to me that I don't even want to be known as a guy who brings that up as something that is cool. Like, that's not cool.
Yeah, Pete Crow
this is
Armstrong,
dumb.
Pete Crow Armstrong definitely signed off on it. Maybe again he was just trying to be fun.
He definitely
on the show,
signed off on it, and he said
but it sounded like maybe he just wanted to be a cool guy for the show. So I'm gonna give him a little bit of a pass. But Pete Crow Armstrong does not go into it with a lot of credibility for me.
He does not.
But the notion that Babe Ruth just didn't exist, I got to be honest with you. I mean, that makes the flat Earth people maybe, feel like, they know what's happening compared to this one.
At least, well, I was going to say something that was really dumb. I'm going to take that back. I was going to say, at least you can't really prove that the world's flat, but you can.
Seems like you can prove it when you look at those pictures from outer
you
space.
Can.
But
you definitely
But again,
can.
those pictures are probably not from outer space because no one's ever walked on the moon.
That's true.
No
That's
one's ever
true.
actually left the Earth.
We've never been to space, actually. It's just all fugazi, as they would say.
Some people believe that.
Some people believe the JFK assassination never happened. He's like living on an island
still living
somewhere.
on an island with I don't know if is he still living? God, he'd been like, no, I don't think so.
No,
He'd be like 100
what was
now.
he, 40 when he was a
Yeah, he was
president?
assassinated. He was 40. He'd be 100 now.
Yeah, he would never have made it.
But he lived out his years with Onassis on the Greek island.
Everybody, what's that country that all the Nazis went to? Is it Argentina or something?
I don't remember where they went, and I don't care where they went personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a new one on me. Babe Ruth did not exist. So
you know what, Chris? Let's
leave it to our guy PCA to bring that back into the.
What don't you want to
discussion.
not exist anymore? Because
Like,
I'm going to
you mean
choose
something that-
something.
Do you want me to choose something that really did exist, maybe, or most likely existed that I wish never came along?
Sure.
You're kind of putting me on the spot.
No. What I'm saying is, let's just say something we don't like, and then just claim it never existed, and then it never existed. So the Seattle Seahawks did not win last year's Super Bowl. Just didn't happen, Chris. Just did not.
I got
happen.
something much more, much bigger than that.
What's that?
I can't say it. I just can't.
You can't?
I cannot say it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I think I.
You know what it is now. I think you know what it is.
I think I do. I think I do.
I'll tell you at the
Does it have
break.
to do with anything where you
Don't give it away.
I don't want to say it because
Don't
I know
throw
that-
me under the bus.
I know that the
Here's the thing.
Oh man.
Here's the thing.
I can't even talk. I want to say it so bad.
The thing that I wish never happened, I bet you is pretty much the same thing you wish never happened. I must tell you.
That, and then there's, yeah, I think I know.
All right,
I think
so let's move on from that.
Yeah, let's
while we
move
still
on
can.
quickly.
Yeah.
The
while we
Dodgers,
still have a job.
Dodgers, they still play games, and they're up 3-0. So
they're in action tonight again. Who are they playing?
Against the Cubs.
Oh, the Cubbies.
Speaking of PCA.
And tomorrow, it'll be Tarek Skubal starting that game against the Cubs. We haven't talked about it since the beginning of the show. So let's revisit it before we take a quick break.
Yeah.
Skraby texted us the minute the Skubal trade went down, Tony and I, in the text.
I was fumbling with my phone. I was trying to get you guys so fast.
Excited, yeah. And he said, Skubal to the Dodgers. And then his next text was, collusion. And my first thought was, Skraby being Skraby again. Okay, he's crazy.
Yep.
But the more I thought about this, I think you could be onto something. And I've tempered, actually, my thinking the last 24 hours. I was more convinced of this yesterday than I am today.
Wow.
But yesterday, I was ready to, shout it from the rooftop. Understand that the Dodgers got Skubal, and everybody who's in the know, not making this up, everybody in the know says the Dodgers underpaid. They didn't have to give up nearly as much as they should have.
Yeah.
Also understand that according to everybody, there were teams, mostly the Brewers, but many others, who easily could have given more than what the Dodgers gave to get Tarek Skubal.
That's what they say.
So Skraby's collusion question is, why didn't they?
Yeah.
Why didn't they Brewers step up? Why didn't another team step up? And understand, if you're a Dodger fan out there, this, in my mind, is not criticism of the Dodgers. They went after him just like they should. What we're asking is, why did everybody simply step aside and let the Dodgers have him, which is what I believe is accurately happened.
It seems this way.
The Dodgers did not give up a top 4 outfield prospect. They gave up their 5th best. They gave up maybe their 10th or 11th best pitcher and a single-A pitcher who's 0-10. That doesn't seem like a lot to get the best pitcher in baseball the last 2 seasons. But, so why didn't anybody do this? And Skraby's conspiracy is that Skubal going to the Dodgers is so perfect for the MLB owners because they're trying to make the point that the sport is broke.
Yeah.
And because the sport is broke, we have to lock out the players at the end of the year. Well, this Skubal to the Dodgers gives points to the owner's side in the court of public opinion because everyone's saying the same thing now. This proves, what are people saying about Skubal? This proves the sport's broke. This proves the sport's broke. This proves we need a level playing field. This proves that it's BS the way they have all the money. That's now what everybody's saying. So ownership, because of this trade, has got everybody in their corner now.
They do. K-Laws is saying, why the Brewers got to give up extra if the Dodgers only gave up pennies? But here's the thing, I'm assuming both sides don't know who's giving up who, and the Brewers are trying, or the Tigers are trying to get the best deal
can't
available.
The Tigers play them against each other?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Why not start a bidding war for this guy?
Tigers
and just
could
keep
say
trying to get more.
Well, the Tigers say, "What are you going to give me?" to the Brewers, and the Brewers say, "We'll give you X, Y, and Z," and they say, "No, we're already getting better than that from the Dodgers. Can you make it better?" And then the Brewers say no or yes, but the fact is, the Dodgers won out with an offer that is less than stellar.
That's
everybody's point that is a Dodger apologist, and there are a ton of these online.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They all keep saying, "Stop blaming the Dodgers. This is because they have a great farm system, and they, Well, I would agree with that if they traded their 2nd, 3rd, and 5th prospect, but they didn't. They traded guys that were down the line, to get Skubal.
I mean, the Zaire Hope guy seems like he might be something. Everybody's saying he's legit. Tony says he's legit. But
and maybe River Ryan can recapture here in his late 20s.
He's 28.
I said maybe. Well, Casey Mize is 29. It's not too old for a pitcher. I'm just saying.
Here's the other thing: is people think that the Dodgers got him because Tarek Skubal wanted to go to the Dodgers. I don't know if it definitely doesn't work that way. It's not his choice where he's traded.
That's also never happens. You can go in and ask, but they don't have to.
You could say this is my preference.
And really, if you were a businessman and you own the Tigers, and you got an offer from the Dodgers, and Skubal said, "Hey, I'd like to go there," but then you got an offer from the Brewers that was twice as good. You would take the one that's twice as good, regardless of what Skubal said.
I don't get.
So the bottom line is they didn't get an offer twice as good from the Brewers.
I don't get it because David's saying it isn't true. Other teams can't afford to give up 10. Here's the thing: there is zero money involved here. It's all prospect currency. So the playing field is level. Just because the Brewers are in a small market doesn't mean they can't afford to give up 10 players. They can. Because everybody has the same amount of players. Like, well, I don't understand this. Maybe the quality of the players isn't the same.
I'm trying to speak. Not talk over. I'm trying to speak to what people are saying. The Dodgers, they're saying, just have better prospects. What everyone else who's a baseball expert is saying is not true. The Brewers have great prospects and could have matched or easily beaten the Dodgers' offer. So why didn't they do it? And until somebody answers that question, to my satisfaction, I'm going to believe that there could be some shenanigans at work here. Because the bottom line to this, the fallout from Skubal going to the Dodgers, is that this increases the Dodgers' chances to cruise to a third straight world title and then makes it so easy for the owners to lock out the players and say, hey, look what happened. We had to do this. It's too convenient.
I think it's
too convenient.
When the Dodgers signed Skubal to a $400 million deal, how I don't understand how that helps anything. Well, I don't understand how.
I know, but until they do that, I'm not blaming the Dodgers for anything.
Oh, well, they will, so we will switch our blame.
Then we can do that then, because, but not yet.
Like, I got to think that there are guys around the league that are just, they're getting paid money to play baseball, but they also want to win. They got to be thinking this thing is bad.
They might be saying to themselves, we can't win. But they're players, they can't say anything because they're going to be on the other side of the argument come off season. All right, that was the conspiracy talk we had earlier. The Padres ended up with Robbie Ray and Casey Mize, two pretty good pitchers. But maybe, as we just discovered with the Dodgers, discussed with the Dodgers, what the hell were the Padres even trying for? Should have just traded away everybody for future. The problem with that idea, the Dodgers are probably going to be pretty good and dominant in 2032 also. So you might as well try to beat them now because it's going to be the same problem trying to beat them later.
I think there's a bigger issue with the whole CBA thing in regards to teams spending, like, okay, how do I explain this? For example, the Dodgers spend 60% of their revenue on salary.
Okay.
Their revenue is nearly $1 billion. You go to Milwaukee, they spend 60% of their revenue. It's not going to be nearly as much.
Right.
There's the disparity. So if every team's spending 60%, and Major League Baseball 2 years ago saying they didn't have any problem with what the Dodgers are doing, and now all of a sudden it's a huge deal, and it's their whole argument, it makes no sense. And I'm honestly, Chris, I'm preparing for no baseball next year.
Did I not mention that possibility about a month ago?
I didn't want to believe you.
You're starting to come around.
I am. I'm starting to figure it out.
Yeah. So then the Padres were darn right to trade away whatever prospects they needed to, because this may be the last shot to win a World Series for a while.
Yeah. Do the Dodgers get paid if they sign him and there's no season? No, they don't. Maybe we should hope for a lockout. Then none of the Dodgers get their money, Chris.
I just can't wait till the owners get caught doing collusion, because they've been caught. And don't say it's impossible, because they've done it and been caught before.
It has happened.
A few times.
It has happened.
Baseball owners, smart as you might think they are, not always. More Gwynn and Chris coming up. We'll finish things up. Get ready for Sam Levitt. We'll recap the day that was the trade deadline, who moved where, who didn't move, and what it all means to the Padres as they get set to take on the Diamondbacks tonight.
It's
the Diamondbacks for the wild card. Phillies are losing 3-0 to Washington right now, Skrabe. Chance to pull into that wild card position tonight if they can win in Arizona. Not something that seemed possible like 10 days ago. But here we are.
It is wild. I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
That Thursday that
Right? They lost to the Braves. We did the notes on a scorecard.
We gave up.
Yeah, we did.
And should we have? Yes, we should have given up at that point.
And they've gone
ever since then. It's been fine.
8-1.
So
since then.
Chris, if we go forward, that was actually rock bottom.
That was rock bottom. And the only guy to beat the Padres since then, Robbie Ray, today got acquired by the Padres.
I like all of this.
Along with Casey
all of
Mize.
this.
Those were the Padres' 2 trade deadline acquisitions. Under the category of don't believe everything you read, here's ESPN's top, I'm not going to give you all of these, but ESPN's top 100 trade candidates going into this whole exercise, okay?
Okay.
Number 1, Mason Miller. Didn't get traded.
Nope.
Number 2, C.J. Abrams. Nope.
Nope.
Number 3, Zach Neto of the Angels.
Nope.
Nope. Number 4, Jeremy Pena, shortstop Astros. Nope. Number 5, George Kirby, pitcher Mariners. Nope. Number 6, Otto Lopez, Marlins. Nope. Number 7, Hunter Goodman, Rockies. Nope. You would think like they could get at least one right. Finally, they did. Number 8, Luis Ariz. Yes, he got traded. Number 9, Reed Detmers, Angels. Nope. So you get the idea here. Like, this is the stuff that we read and eat up and go crazy over for a month ahead of the trade deadline, and so little of it actually happens.
I actually did a pretty good job this year of not buying into some of these things.
Good for you, Skrabe. I'm proud of you, man. You're improving.
Yes, the clickbait out there is multiplying
It's insane,
every single
right?
day.
Here's ESPN's top players by position. First base, Isaac Paredes, Christian Walker, Josh Bell, Nathaniel Lowe. Only Nathaniel Lowe was traded today. The Guardians got him. Second base, we mentioned Ariz, but the rest, Jackson Holliday, Gleyber Torres, Willie Castro. None got traded. Third base, Isaac Paredes, Matt Chapman, Eugenio Suarez, Mark Vientos. None got traded. Shortstop, Zach Neto, Jeremy Pena, C.J. Abrams, Otto Lopez. Again, none got traded. Outfielders, J.J. Bleday, Jake McCarthy, Taylor Ward, Dalton Varsho, Lars Nootbaar. The last 3 did get traded, but Bleday and McCarthy did not. Starting pitchers, George Kirby, Reed Detmers were the top 2. Neither of them got traded. So anyway, I'm just saying, keep that in mind when we come around to all of this next year, that most of it doesn't really happen.
And if Bob Nightingale's saying it, don't believe it.
Oh, God, you picking on old Bob.
I mean, I'm
I don't
sorry.
blame you.
I like Bob Nightingale. We've met before. He's a very nice
he's
guy.
Wonderful, but his reporting is a little faulty.
It's been suspect.
It's been faulty.
It's been suspect.
All right, we got a few minutes left. Our guy, Sam Levitt's got everything in the pregame show, but let's run down who moved here in the trade deadline. I mentioned, obviously, you know the Dodgers. They got Skubal. Diamondbacks got Lars Nootbaar. And
apparently they overpaid for Lars.
I didn't see who they gave up, but the Nootbaars who went to Arizona. Marcelo Mayer, mentioned him because he's a former San Diego kid, went to the Giants today. Robbie Ray and Casey Mize, and also Hunter Stratton, a reliever, was acquired by the Padres today. Stratton coming from Pittsburgh. The Cubs got a pretty good group of pitchers: Clay Holmes, Kevin Gausman, Braxton Garrett, Ryan Zenderjohn, a reliever, and Tyrone Taylor, an outfielder. Pittsburgh totally redid its bullpen. Luke Weaver, Camilo Duvall, Kirby Yates, and what is it? Luke Baker?
Oh, no, it's
you know what I mean.
Let me go back to Tony's text.
Yeah,
Because
Tony texted us the correct pronunciation. He was so excited.
Oh, it's Lake Bacher.
There we go.
Bacher.
Like
he's
soccer
soccer with a B.
Beautiful. He's a Pirate.
It's great. We'll never say his name again.
No, that's right. Milwaukee goes for Dustin May, J.J. Romero, Senzatella from the Rockies, and Bo Naylor. Philadelphia, Ariz and reliever Brooks Raley from the Mets. Atlanta, Tyler Molly, Lane Thomas, Brent Suter, a reliever. And the Miami Marlins checked in. They gave up a lot, the Marlins, but the one guy they did get, Victor Vodnik, who the Padres and many other teams have punished
Every
over
time
the years.
he's that guy that every time I turn on a Rockies game, he's just getting shelled.
Just chalking.
He's just getting shelled every single time.
He has a great form though when he turns around to look at a line drive off the wall.
He's really good at that.
Yeah, he's good at that.
He leads the league in looking at balls off the wall.
maybe get him out of Colorado, to work. I don't know. Washington got the lefty Connolly early. The Red Sox in that trade picked up Curtis Mead, who got hurt, but now the Red Sox have added Adley Rutschman, closer of the Giants, Eric Miller, and backup outfielder from the Braves, Eli White. Yankees try to keep pace with Luis Garcia Jr. and Helio Ramos. Tampa Bay, I like what they did with Freddie Peralta and Leon Hicks. They added another pitcher, Tyler Wells, I think it is, from Baltimore. Toronto, I don't know what they're doing because they traded a bunch of people away, but they also got Jose Soriano from the Angels and Jameson Taillon from the Cubs. White Sox, Luis Castillo, Joey Bart, Brenton Doyle from the Rockies. Cleveland, by the way, Buster Olney and everybody at ESPN, they think Cleveland is going to the World Series now after what they did.
It is kind of crazy.
I'm just telling you, they're that excited by the addition of Foster Griffin, Joe Adele, and Nathaniel Lowe. Minnesota, a couple of relievers, Jeff Hoffman from Toronto, the main guy there. Astros, Dalton Varsho. Rangers, Logan O'Hoppe. And Seattle, Taylor Ward. If you didn't hear your name, stay put. You're not going anywhere.
Good, because you know what? All those writers out there are very angry that Mason Miller didn't get traded, which I'm so happy he's still here. I'm so happy that the Padres didn't send him.
The number one best thing that happened today was Mason Miller and Morejon were not traded.
Yes.
The second best thing is that, we got Robbie Ray and Casey Mize. All right, PCA said that Babe Ruth doesn't exist. Well, at least he co-signed it. So if Babe Ruth didn't exist, then what the hell was he doing ending his career with what team?
Oh, wow.
If you can answer what team did Babe Ruth play his final games for, you can go see the concert Muse, which is coming up at the Open Air Amphitheater on North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on August 29th. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com or win them by calling in 833-288-0973. You want to go see Muse? Tell me which team the potentially not real Babe Ruth finished his baseball career with. 833-288-0973. No kidding. The Hoboken Zephyrs, which was a team on the Twilight Zone, a classic Twilight Zone episode. I'll never forget the famous Hoboken Zephyrs. Sam Levitt is coming up next. Padre pregame. Padres and Diamondbacks. Will we be tied for the wild card when we rejoin you tomorrow? I hope so. We'll see you at 2 o'clock. Everybody have a good night. Thanks for being with us. And appreciate you joining us. And Kyle Glaser, big shout out to him for great draft coverage today on 97.3 The Fan.